Hello, welcome back to the Autumn Lions Beast, and today we're back with If Our Heart Had Wings. So, Amane's best girl, we've concluded that last part. Let's just keep going. I want more. Where's my mouse over there? Kotori and the others were waiting at the runway. They had gone ahead to prepare the winch and such. Hanchan parked the truck that was pulling the trailer at the side of the runway. At Club President Kotori's command, everyone split into groups and started assembling the glider. We unloaded the disassembled parts from the trailer. We finished remodeling the glider late at night, so we haven't seen it assembled yet. We haven't done this in a year. Well, we remembered how we did this last summer. We were teaching the new members.
ようやく形になったんだな。
ああ。
どうだ、気分は。
なんだか不思議な気持ちだよ。つい最近まで私にとってこのグライダーは架空の存在だった。ただの思いつき。幻の翼。
ああ。けど、あいつらが本当に作っちまった。
さっきから心臓がドキドキうるさいんだ。気分が落ち着かなくて困る。
ワクワクしてるんだな。
うん。でも、不安もある。
どうして？
私にとってあのグライダーは、イスカとの夢のかけらが形になったようなものだから。
そうだったな。
できました！よーし！組み立て完了！
The white glider was standing on a runway that was covered with a green carpet made from thick summer grass. Aerodynamic body, huge forward swept wings. The newly reborn aircraft was sparkling brightly as it bathed in the midsummer sunlight. First years saw the assembled glider up close for the first time. Their eyes sparkled as they looked at this airframe with unproportionally huge wings.
こんななんだ。綺麗な機体だね。
It was the same for the 30 years. They looked at the glider they had made almost as if it was a gift from the heavens.
それじゃ、早速発行準備に取り掛かりましょう。
Kotori's words brought everyone up to their senses. They didn't come here to assemble it and then just stare at it. We will be flying from now on with this glider.
Aoi! コックピットお願い!
Roger! Got into the cockpit and started checking the flight system. The glider was finished just yesterday, so I performed the check before the maiden flight very carefully. While I was waiting, I was confirming each entry on the checklist. She was explaining its significance to us and Yoru.
どうですか、先輩? どこも問題は見当たらない。
At the end, we had Amane take a look at the check. And the check was complete. Was finished. Then, when the flight preparations were finished...
Oi!
Aoni! Oh, Hotaru tachi da!
Otsuku, Hotaru, and for some reason Akari showed up at the runway.
いらっしゃい、あんたたち。
おう、見に来てやったぜ。
グライダーできてる。
Otsuku and Hotaru let out happy cheers when they saw the finished glider.
おはようございます、皆さん。おはよう、生徒会長。どうしてあなたがいるの？田崎くんから今日テストフライトをすると伺ったので。お邪魔じゃなければ、見学させてもらってもいいかしら。
Akari's words made Kotori grin.
もちろんよ。私たちの作ったグライダーを見ていくといいわ。
She said it with an expression showing that she couldn't help but boast about it. Well, we all felt the same way, so Kotori was pretty much speaking for all of us.
あんちゃん。
よう、お前らも来たのか。
散々アゲハにこき使われたからな。
あ、聞いたぞ。頑張ったんだってな、お前ら。
Anchan patted Hotaru and Masatsugu on the head. They both seemed happy to be praised by him.
よーし、じゃあ飛ぶか。葵、行ける？
Yeah, anytime.
後部座席はどうするんですか？そりゃあ、やっぱり。私はいいぞ。遠慮しなくていいのよ、あまねちゃん。せっかくなんだから、最初に乗せてもらいなさいよ。誰が遠慮なんかするものか。頼まれたって私は乗らないぞ。
She declared it firmly. Her fear of heights hasn't changed a bit since last year. I was really looking forward to our date in the sky, but I guess that's not gonna happen.
じゃあ、小鳥乗れば？え、いいの？部長なんだし。ねえ、葵。
Yeah, that's right. I promised that last year too. When it had been decided that I would be the pilot, Kotori was feeling bitter and I promised her. And once I'm able to pilot the glider on my own, I'd take her on the first flight.
じゃあ、朝ちゃん、夜ちゃん、小鳥後ろに積み込むから手伝って。人を荷物みたいに言うな。
Amane watched the noisy launch preparations from a little distance away. It was almost like she was looking at a faraway land. She seemed somewhat lonely. Got out of the cockpit for a moment and walked over to her. So,
どうしたんだい、葵くん。
Is it painful for you after all?
うん。実は、少しな。
It was still hard for her to face her memories of Isuka, so she tried to distance herself from the glider. Then again, the time she spent with us was also precious to her, and that's why she came back. She said she was looking forward to the test flight, but she still hasn't gotten her feelings about Isuka in order. This is the glider you designed for your promise with Isuka, right?
ああ、そうだ。
So that means when the glider flies, the memories of Isuka will be nearby. That promise hasn't been fulfilled yet.
葵くん。
I thought it might have been a little impudent. This was Senpai's past I knew little about. Those were her precious and sad memories. I'm just barging in and saying stuff without consideration. But I thought it was at least somewhat forgivable. Because I'm her boyfriend after all. We are going to take this glider above that cloud.
ありがとう。
Senpai smiled, though with a hint of loneliness. Well then, I'm off.
あ、気をつけて。
I left her side and returned to the cockpit. Kotori, are you alright?
平気。ワクワクしすぎて、心臓が爆発しそうだけど。
Okay, we're good to go.
了解。朝ちゃん、夜ちゃん、行くわよ。
Canopy was closed. Finally, it's time to return to the sky over Kazagaura. The glider that Aoi and Kotori were riding was connected to the winch with a towing rope. The two of them looked nervous inside the canopy, but they also seemed to be having fun, because unlike me, they're not afraid of flying, or rather they want to fly. It's almost like they were saying they naturally belong in the sky.
発行準備完了。夜ちゃん、ウインチお願い。
Aga gave it a signal towards the winch installed on the other side of the runway. Except that wouldn't make that kind of sound. The next moment, the towing rope pulled the glider and it started moving. After merely a few seconds, I pulled the control stick and the aircraft rose into the air. I held my breath for a moment. It still stayed at a low altitude. Without the friction against the ground, the glider steadily started accelerating. The nose turned upwards. With its huge wings spread out, the pure white aircraft soared up into the sky. If you're going to continue your dream, I want you to have it. As a friend. Kotori said that when she passed me Isuka's flight log. That time I thought that maybe I shouldn't have taken it.
今の私はどうなんだろう。まだ同じ夢を見ているんだろうか。
So that means when this glider flies, the memories of Isuka will be nearby. The remembered the words Aoi said to me just now. They revived the thoughts I had kept inside. I looked at the sky. Towing rope was slowly falling down with its small parachute open. Right now, the glider attached from the winch was soaring. Detached, not attached, detached from the winch was soaring in the sky with the winds it caught with its own wings. Isuka dreamed of it. I drew it. Then they gave it form.
見てくれ、イスカ。
Meow.
君と私とで思い描いた夢の翼が、今、飛んでいるぞ。
They sure are! Everyone still on the ground freezes, looks over, and Isuka's just standing there like, hi. The sky I looked up at was vividly blue. The white wings glimmered as they reflected the sunlight. I'm still dreaming. Because the promise we made on that day is right before the place where I'm standing in right now. What? I'm standing in right now. Place I'm standing in. There we go. That's what I meant to say. Awkward.
入るぞ、イスカ。
あまね、どうしたの？
お見舞いに来たんだ。これ、達也から。
ありがとう。ゼリーだ、美味しそう。わわ。
お前、ハットか？ずいぶん大きくなったな。
わ。
ついこの間までひよこだったのに。
その子、よく食べるからね。
具合はどうだ？
平気さ、ちょっと熱があるだけだから。
そうか。
わざわざ来てくれなくてよかったのに。
でも、もう3日も休んでるじゃないか。風邪をこじらせたのか？
そんなんじゃないよ。いつものことだから。ああ、でも、あまねと仲良くなってから大きいのは初めてか。最近調子良かったからな。調子に乗りすぎてたかも。なんて。
私が無理をさせてしまったのか？
違う。その逆だって。あまねのおかげでずっと調子良かったんだよ。
そうなのか？
あまねには言ってなかったっけ？僕は生まれつき体が弱いんだ。
そんな風に見えないが。
普段はね。でも、はしゃぎすぎたりした日とか、もっと何でもない日とかでも、夜中に突然熱を出して寝込んじゃうことがあるんだ。そんな夜は、急に怖くなる。もしかしたら、もう二度と朝を迎えられないんじゃないかって、意識が朦朧として、だんだん呼吸も苦しくなって、もう自分は死ぬんじゃないかって。
いいっすか？
あまね、手をつないで。
ああ。
Squeeze.
そんな夜は、誰かに手を握ってて欲しくなる。そうじゃないと、不安に押しつぶされそうになるんだ。
私はいつも君のそばにいるぞ。なんだったら今夜は泊まっていこうか？
もう平気だよ。だいぶ楽になった。明日からは普通に学校に行けると思う。僕には寝込んでる暇なんてないからね。
そうか。
僕は多分、人より長くは生きられない。だったらせめて、残したい。僕が、ここにいた証を。
残せばいい。私にもできることがあれば言ってくれ。
ねえ、あれ、どうした？
あれ？ああ、大学の話か。断ったよ。別に大学に編入してまでやりたい勉強はないからな。
でも、あんたの頭なら、どこへだって行けるのに。
確かに、全く興味がないわけじゃないが、今の私には、他に行きたいところがあるんだ。連れて行ってくれるんだろ？私を、あの雲の向こうへ。
あまね、あんた。
私にとっては、イスカとの約束の方が大事だ。何を驚いてるんだ？
おー、いや、さすがアマネだわ。わかってるわ。安心して。僕が命に変えても連れて行くよ。
あ、楽しみにしてる。
約束だ。
Isuka, who was always bright and full of life, somewhat looked a little small on that day. When I saw my best friend like this, I was bewildered. She looked like a different person from the Isuka I knew.
ところでイスカ、私のメガネを知らないか？この間、部室で居眠りしているうちに、亡くなってしまったようなのだが。
さあ、知らないよ。あんた、すぐ物をなくすからね。
あれがないと、前がよく見えないぞ。
いっそ、コンタクトにしちゃえば？
I will beat you to death, Isuka. Not like it would accelerate the process that much. I assume that Isuka did die. By now.
それもやむなしか。
Except you don't. Is that all you need?
たったの2日だけだもん。
Kotri said as she held a small traveling bag on her lap.
おはようございます。おはよう。
Because up the sisters came down the stairs. They were also carrying bags. Everybody's going with little luggage, huh?
私たちは電車とバスですぐですから。着替えも家にあるし。
It was a few days after the first flight with the improved glider. We performed quite a few tests without any issues, so we decided to take a little break from club activities. We've been working very hard since before summer break, so this was a little vacation for us. Actually, we wanted to fly as much as possible, but we'll be having a training camp to prepare for the morning glory at the end of summer break. So this was the only time we had to rest. The Obon festival was already over, but Kotri decided to go home. Us and Yoru were going back home for a while as well. You said you definitely weren't going back. What made you change your mind?
だってひばり姉がすごく悲しそうな顔するんだもん。
She argued with Hibari about returning home multiple times. Normally they get along well, but this time neither of them gave in.
それに、お父さんとお母さんにはいっぱい心配かけちゃったし。
Her parents were extremely worried when we all barricaded ourselves in the garage last year. I don't know the details, but it seems that even before that, there was some kind of gap between Kotri and her parents. When you spent some time with them after that incident, they apparently talked things over. As every cloud has a silver lining, Kotri said that incident helped her bridge that gap to some extent. Her decision to go home probably also stems from this. Relax and have a good time.
そうする。朝、夜、例のあれ、お願いね。ミサギイスカのことね。おじいちゃんにパッチリ聞いてみます。
They accepted this task. In fact, we found out just yesterday, but those two knew Misagi Isuka. That Isuka. Seems they've met her for some reason. Then Amane came down the stairs.
これから帰るのかい？しばらく会えないけど、寂しかったら電話してくれてもいいわ。すぐ帰ってくるんだろ？
As Senpai replied in puzzlement, Kotri got angry.
いいから電話して！ 5分くらいでいいから！
Please call her. It seems she'll feel lonely otherwise.
わかったぞ。
I heard the car's horn.
ひばり姉だ！ひばり姉！小鳥ちゃん！
Hibari got out of the car and rushed towards Kotri as if she hadn't seen her in forever. In reality, it's only been a week though.
よく帰る気になってくれたわね。きっとお父さんたちも喜ぶわ。
Should not be this tempting to just grab this fucking chocolate Santa and just smash it with the mace. Should not be this tempting. But it fucking is. That's worrying. But I really shouldn't do it because this is like fucking Lind chocolate, which is like high quality chocolate. I don't know why we have this. I just like, before I went downstairs earlier today, there was literally just fucking like handed to me. How much actually would this be? I'm actually kind of curious now. How much did this did this cost? Like, it's not like some like hella expensive stuff. It's just like the more expensive kind of chocolate. Like, it's still not something where it's just yes, only fucking like high quality bullshit. It's just yes, it's slightly above every day in quality, I guess you could say. It's like the 70 gram, I think. Yep, that's the 70 gram. That's €2.59, which is not something I would pay for chocolate, really. Like, I usually get Milka if I do get chocolate, which is like also a bit more on the expensive side, but still not quite that expensive, and I just like Milka more. Like, it's not some fucking, like, high-quality praline bullshit. But still, it's not something you just kind of buy because you feel like chocolate. You go for other stuff for that, usually. I feel. Anyways.
もうすでに大喜びしてた。お盆休み明けたばかりだけど、有給取るって？大げさね。帰るのは2日間だけだから。それ以上引き止めようとしたら、私一人でもここへ戻ってくるから。ええ、肝に銘じておくわ。
Is it really something you need to keep in mind?
ひばりさん、おはようございます。今日はありがとうございます。
Hibari is going to take us and Yoru to the station with her car.
いや、どういたしまして。小鳥ちゃんのかわいい後輩さんなんですもの。
They are cute to begin with, but to Hibari they look far more adorable just because they are Kotori's juniors.
それじゃあ、葵くん、あまねちゃん、行ってくるわね。行ってきます。それじゃあ。
Take care!
行ってらっしゃい。ハットのことよろしくね。寂しかったらいつでも電話してくれていいから。
Kotori and the others got in Hibari's car and drove away. It got quiet all of a sudden. What are you gonna do, Amane? Don't you have to go back home?
私はここに残るよ。家に帰ると仕事が増えるからな。それに。
Hug. Oh! She suddenly hugged my head and pressed it against her chest.
二人きりだと、葵くんのこと抱きしめ放題だ。こんな風に。
Squeeze, squeeze. Feels good. Wait, it's not just the two of us. Kadako is here too. So is Hat.
そうだったな。
He said that like she didn't really mean it and kept hugging me. So for me, while I was complaining, I couldn't really resist her.
葵くんは本当におっぱいが好きなんだな。
As she said that, she pressed her breasts against me. Really shouldn't be doing this, you know.
あ、
She hugged me and seemed happy from the bottom of her heart.
ありがとう、葵くん。君のおかげで、私はまだ夢を見ていられる。
What is she talking about? Yeah, that thing I mentioned before the test flight. Okay. I replied as I clung to her without thinking. She wants to meet the person who used to be her best friend, right? Isuka. I was feeling set by his warmth. I remembered Isuka's letter that we happened to find yesterday. Am I still alive there? letter started with those words. It happened yesterday. Kotori's wheelchair got stuck in a floorboard in the dining room.
大変！床が割れてます。ハバネ先輩、また太ったんじゃ。違うわ！無実よ！これは床板が腐ってたのか、それか、私、太ってない！
I'm sorry to say, but it seems the floor really is rotten.
残念って何？そんなこと言ってないで、助けてよ！
While I was helping Kotori get out of this crack, I moved the broken floorboard aside. Huh?
どうしたんですか？
What is this? There's a tin can under the floor.
クッキーの箱ですか？
Looks like it.
あ、わかった。きっと誰かのへそくりよ。埋蔵金ってやつね。
Looks like somebody hid it indeed, so that's possible.
開けてみれば？
The rusty lid opened with a thump. In the box was a fancy envelope, a plush panda, and... Isis case was a very mysterious combination.
どうかしたのかい？
Isuka stole the glasses. Amane came over. We found this under the floor. I showed her the contents of the box. And then...
これ、私のメガネケースだ。
Huh? It's yours?
ああ、もうずいぶん前になくしていたんだけど。そうか、こんなところにあったのか。
I don't think there's a situation where you say, so it was there! There's no way she put it under the floor out of carelessness.
このぬいぐるみは何？
Plush panda. It's something you'd get from an arcade machine.
イスカが気に入ってたパンダだ。懐かしいな。
It's Isuka's. And the contents of this envelope.
開けてみましょうよ。
Can we?
こんなところに置いておく方が悪いのよ。
I didn't say anything, but I was very curious as well as I opened it. Inside, there was a folded note. There were folded notes.
なんて書いてあるんですか？
Am I still alive there? That was written on one of those notes. One of the notes. The handwriting was the same as in that diary.
何これ？どういう意味？
Kotori and I looked at Amane, but she was just looking at that short letter in silence. There's one more. This one was more like a normal letter. Hey, Amane, are you there? How do you feel about wearing contact lenses? I'm sure you're popular right now, aren't you? Aren't you? Could it be that you have a boyfriend? Oh, I'm jealous. You can thank me for that. Senpai held the glasses case that she took from the box and squeezed it tightly, probably unconsciously. How many years have passed there? How old am I? Did my dream come true already? Is life going well? Are you successful? Uh-huh. I see. So my future is bright after all. Thought so.
これもしかしてタイムカプセルってやつ？
Looks like it. Those were letters that Isuka wrote to her future self. To her best friend who was still supposed to be beside her.
にしても人のメガネを隠しちゃうなんてむちゃくちゃな子ね。
As she said that, Kotori glanced at Amane, who looked like she had nothing to say.
でもよかったじゃないですか。おかげで彼氏できたんだから。
Senpai looked at me, then the glasses case that we discovered.
本当だ。
I didn't choose you based on whether or not you wore glasses, though. I said it just in case. That also had a postscript. P.S. I put Panko in here too. If I fawn over Panko too much, Hat'll get jealous and attack it. The letter ended like
イ
that.
スカってやっぱり変な子よね。
Kotori said it honestly.
ところで、そのイスカって、もしかして、ミサギイスカのことかしら？
Suddenly Yoru said this.
ああ、そうだが。知ってるの？昔一度だけ会ったことがあるわ。祖父主催のパーティーで。思い出した！あの人だ！
Asa clapped her
大
hands.
人ばっかりのパーティーで、私たちが退屈してたら、こっちに来て遊んでくれたんです。ずっと年上なのに、なんだか子供みたいな人だったわね。それ、何のパーティー？なんでイスカが来てたの？年に一度、地元の偉い人たちを集めて、懇親会のようなことをやるんだけど、ミサギ家は、風戸家と並ぶ地元の有力者の家だから。確か、慶風学園の理事も務めていたはずよ。 じゃあ、イスカっていいとこのお嬢様なんだ。
We have discovered an unexpected fact and we're quite surprised. Amane also had a surprised expression. I've been wondering what she was like, but I never expected her to be a lady from a high-class
ちょっ
family.
と変わった人だったし、イスカなんて妙な名前そうそうないから、多分間違いないわね。
Is your grandfather still in contact with the Misagi family?
ええ、多分。じゃあ、もしかして、あなたたちのおじいちゃんに聞けば、イスカの居所とか分かったりするんじゃ。さあ、そこまでは。
But it's worth a try. Unexpectedly, we discovered a clue about Isuka, and we're brimming with anticipation. Amane was surprised by that sudden development and was staring at the letter. That's all.
そんなことがあったのか。
While we were working on the maintenance of the winch, I told Anchan about the time capsule we found yesterday. Even though we took a break from the club activities, Amane was away working, so I thought I'd deal with maintenance so we could fly as soon as everybody comes back. I wasn't sure if I could do it by myself, so I asked Anchan to come if he wasn't busy.
イスカらしいな。
He muttered after he read Isuka's letter that I brought. The thing written here, is that? I said as I pointed to one of the letters with my eyes. Am I still alive there? It was on my mind, but I couldn't ask Amane. Anchan looked at that sentence and kept quiet for a while.
あいつは、自分が長くは生きられないって思ってるみたいだった。いつかは体が弱かったんだ。それで、よく学校も休んでた。普段はごく普通の女の子に見えるんだけどな。急に熱を出して2、3日寝込んだりする。生まれつきらしいけど、あいつは自分の短命を覚悟しているみたいだった。
Prepared to live a short life. She might die earlier than other people. So there are people who live prepared for that.
だからだろう。俺にはあいつが生き急いでるように見えたよ。人の何倍も濃密な時間を過ごし、何倍も楽しんでやろう。そんなやつだった。
Seems like a pretty weird girl. She hid Amane's glasses in the time capsule because they didn't look good on her. Well, to be honest, I also think she looks much better wearing contacts rather than glasses.
変わり者といえば、そうだったかもな。周りと馴染めなくていつも浮いてた。そりゃそうだ。普通に暮らしてる連中とは生きる密度が違いすぎるんだ。そうして孤立を深めていってた頃、あいつは同じように周囲に馴染めないでいる奴を見つけた。
Amane. Anchan nodded. That was when Senpai was being called a genius or a prodigy by those around her. When everything was in perfect harmony, nothing was fun, and her world was monotone.
理由は全然違うが、浮いている者同士、馬があったみたいだな。
Senpai said she was glad that Isuka called her an idiot.
あいつらしいな。あまねにバカなんて言えるのは多分イスカくらいだ。
What was Isuka like?
そうだな。一言で言うと、あいつこそとんでもないバカだった。
Unbelievable idiot.
一応、いい意味でな。あまねは賢い。天才って言われるほどだ。できることとできないことが分かってる。だから無駄なことはしないし、成功しても喜ばない。あまねにとってそれは当たり前のことで、多分意識もしてなかったと思う。
For Senpai, both success and failure are predetermined, expected outcomes.
イスカはその逆だ。
That's more than enough to make someone's life feel boring.
できることとできないことがまるで分かってない。やってみて、結果を見てからやっと理解する。
I see. In society, someone like that could be called an idiot. And for that reason, I was drawn to Isuka. Maybe because Anchan and Amane were talking about her so happily.
でもな、物事には成功と失敗だけじゃない。そのどちらでもない部分に目には見えない価値があることだってある。グライダーで飛ぶっていうのもそうじゃないか？
I nodded. Gliders that don't have engines completely rely on the wind to fly. They can't be really used for to carry passengers or packages. You don't gain anything in particular from flying them. They just fly for the sake of flying. That's what gliders are for.
いつかはそんな目には見えない価値あるものを一生懸命探してるようなやつだった。
I'm gonna say the same thing.
正しいことと間違っていること。いいことと悪いこと。役に立つものと立たないもの。物事をそんな風にしか捉えていなかった私に、イスカはそうじゃないものがあることを教えてくれた。世界のほとんどはそうじゃなかったんだ。そう思えるようになってから、世界が輝き出した。小さなきらめきをそこかしこに見つけられるようになった。イスカが私の世界に色をくれた。
へえ、あいつがそんなことを。
Isuka influenced Amane a lot.
そうなのかもな。けど、それはイスカからしても同じだと思うぞ。アマネと出会うまでイスカは退屈してた。何をやっても空回りで喜びを共有できる仲間はいない。あいつ自身、自分の存在を希薄に感じて辛い思いをしてたと思う。けどアマネは、そんなあいつをいきなり全肯定しちまった。イスカのやること、喋る内容全部をだ。
Everything. What I heard and read in the flight log, among the things Isuka was doing, there was plenty of nonsensical and ridiculous stuff. But Amane accepted all of it.
アマネがよく言ってるだろ。イスカは天才だったんだ。当時アマネは、学校中、それこそ先生らからも、別格の雲の上の人のような扱いをされてた。そんなアマネから天才だもんな。
If that were me, I would have felt ashamed. I probably would have asked her to stop.
ああ、俺もだ。でもいつかは嬉しそうだった。やっと僕の価値がわかる人間が現れたか、くらいのドヤ顔だったぞ。
She really was a bit weird. The fact she was easily getting cocky kind of resembled Kotori.
いつかはアマネに体が弱いことを隠そうとしてた。弱みを見せたくなかったんだろう。アマネと対等の友人でいたかったんだと思う。まあ、すぐにバレちまったけどな。
Anchan said quietly and smiled. When I looked at his lonely smile, I realized something. Everything we talked about just now must have been sad memories for Anchan. Even so, I kept asking about it thoughtlessly.
にしても、アマネと随分打ち解けたんだな。あいつがイスカのことを話すなんて。
Huh? Yeah, well, until just recently, she wasn't too eager to talk about it. I guess that's because it's hard for her to face those memories. I haven't told you yet, but, actually, Amane and I are dating. Anchan looked surprised for a moment, but then smiled happily. Whack!
やるな、葵。あのアマネを落とすとは。
Like, she was like, Yo, Jesus Christ, lad! You fucking did it! Out! Really?
あいつ昔からモテてたからな。あの見た目だから当然なんだが。でも、どんな男が言い寄っても全く相手にしてなかったんだぜ。そもそも恋愛ってものにまるで興味がないみたいだったな、あれは。
It does seem like she didn't know anything about relationships until recently.
それを、まさかお前がな。
Anchan nodded deeply and rubbed my head really hard. Whoa, but wait, Anchan!
おめでとう、葵。お前だったらアマネのこと安心して任せられるよ。
Say, Anchan.
Hmm?
Were you in love with Senpai? As I spoke my mind, Anchan looked at me blankly.
俺が惚れてたのはイスカだ。
Ah, okay. Yeah, that was obvious. Like, it was obvious that Isuka was in love with him. And I assumed it's gonna be a case of it's reciprocated, but I wasn't sure if they are dating or not. Isuka. See, that's how it was. That's why I know so much about Isuka from before we met Amane. She met Amane. Now that I think about it, it just seems quite strange. Anchan joined Soaring Club a while after Isuka and Amane revived.
まあな。でも、あの頃のイスカはアマネにぞっこんでな。割り込む隙がなかったんだ。
Embarrassed, Anchan scratched the tip of his nose. Could it be that you still love her? Anchan suddenly got silent and looked up at the sky that stretched above the lake.
ああ、好きだな。
Those few words conveyed a lot of feelings. By the way, might be able to find out where she is now?
本当か？
Us and Yoru have met her in the past. They say she's from a rich family.
イスカが？
He looked a little surprised. This is an unexpected fact indeed. Since Anchan didn't know about it, she might have been hiding it while she was at school. If everything goes well, we may be able to contact her. Anchan's gaze fell upon the old winch.
俺もアマネも、イスカがいなくなったあの日から、時間が止まっちまったみたいになってる。動き出せるきっかけをずっと待っているんだ。葵たちがモーニンググローリーを飛んでくれれば、そのきっかけになるかもしれないって思ってた。
That cloud still looks like a lady.
俺はともかく、アマネはそれで歩き出せる。
Yeah, I was thinking more or less the same thing. She won't do this. Her problems with Isuka will stay in her mind forever. If you find anything out, I'll let you know right away.
ああ、頼む。それから、
Anchan tapped my arm gently.
アマネのことも頼むわ。
Looked him dead in the eye and nodded. I was humming while I was stirring the stew. The pot contained carrots, potatoes, onions, and hearty meat cube cut into cubes. It was boiling.
超機嫌だね。
Really?
葵くんが鼻歌歌ってるところなんて初めて見たよ。
Yeah, normally I don't hum. I also don't really hum, I mostly whistle. Cooking is fun when I know there's someone who will enjoy my food.
それって、私のこと？
Well, yeah, you too. In our dormitory, pretty much everybody says enjoys the meals I cook. My girlfriend, who in such a messy way completely spoils the beauty, definitely takes the lead here. My girlfriend, huh? I reflexively smiled. Seems more real to me after I told Anchan and he approved.
望月先輩とはどうなの？
We're doing well.
デートとかどこ行ってんの？やっぱりウィンディ？
That's... Oh, we haven't gone on one yet. Haven't had a date yet because we've been too busy with the club.
一応聞くけど、付き合ってるんだよね。
Of course.
でもデートはしてないと。
We've been busy.
今部活お休みなんでしょ？どっか行ってきたら？
Guess we won't. Well, we were talking about that.
ただいま。
Senpai came back. Welcome home, senpai.
おかえりなさい。いい匂いだ。今夜はカレーか。
Yeah, it's your favorite beef curry. Amina's tastes are a little childish. She likes simple meals like hamburger steak, curry, or spaghetti. That aside, I make a lot of stew. I can eat it for a while. It's like hamburg steak. The phrase hamburg steak just evokes the image of like, yes, hamburger patty, that's it. But I feel like it's out at the same time. It kind of sounds like hakbrad, which I don't know if the English phrase for it. Hold on. Meatloaf, apparently. What the fuck? I was under the impression that meatloaf and hakbrad were not the same thing. Apparently it is. Oh, weird. Oh well. Anyways. There are only the three of us in the dormitory now. None of them would mind having curry every day. I'll be ready after I boil for a few after I boil it for a few minutes. Go change your clothes and wash your hands.
はーい、カレー、カレー。
Seeing Senpai delighted like a child made me smile. My girlfriend is very cute. That she is. That she is.
ごちそうさまでした。
Senpai made short work of an enormous serving of curry and put her hands together over an empty plate.
美味しかったぞ。
Like Amane, like it was delicious. He like, yeah, really, I'm glad you enjoyed it. And Kaneko joins in, is like, yeah, it really was good. Yeah, that's nice for you. The well-cooked beef curry suited her tastes. It'll be even better tomorrow.
楽しみすぎてまたすぐお腹が空いてきそうだぞ。あたしもごちそうさ
Kaneko brought the plate to the sink and left the dining room. Along the way,
ん。はいく。
she mouthed after me. Got me. Replied with a wink, and Kaneko went to her room. Amane was still sitting in her chair and was murmuring with a serious expression. What's the matter?
私は葵くんの彼女なんだよな。
Yeah, that's right. My girlfriend asked me a question like that, and my confidence wavered a little.
なのに葵くんに与えてもらってばかりで何もしてあげられていない。こんなことでいいのだろうかと、私なりに今猛烈に悩んでいるんだ。
She said that and murmured with a serious face again. Yes, she really liked today's curry. You are returning the favor, though.
何をだ？
When you eat the meals I make and thank me for them so happily, I'll feel absolutely delighted.
そうなのか？変わってるな。
Like, he just genuinely seems to like taking care of people, so honest to God, he's probably perfect for Amane. Her glance seemed like it was pitying me. Please don't look at me like I'm some sort of pervert who gets a kick out of weird stuff.
じゃあもっと嬉しそうにしようか。お礼の言い方にリクエストはあるかい？
Just do it normally. Doing that in a forced manner would ruin it. But well, if you compliment me, that might be better, I guess. Felt quite embarrassed as I said that. But I'd be really happy to get compliments from Senpai, more than from anyone else.
そうか。褒めるんだな。
She said and put her hand on my head. Then as she patted me,
よくできたな。偉いぞ、葵くん。
blush. That's very embarrassing.
なんだか可愛いぞ、葵くん。
I don't think calling a guy cute would be considered a compliment, but since it was Senpai who said it, it honestly made me happy. Maybe it's because she's much older than me. I gave myself to her patting like a cat curling up in the sun. Oh, that's a good thing. I almost forgot something important. Senpai, do you have any plans for tomorrow?
いつも通りだ。
Yeah, she answered while she was rubbing my head. That means she has work. Senpai doesn't understand the concept of taking 2 days off work per week. If she doesn't have anything else to do, she just stays in her room and works all the time. If you like, we could go out somewhere. Asked her with my heart
いい
pounding.
けど、どこへだ？
I remember the list of popular date spots in Kazagawa that Kaneko told me about. Tell you the truth, I already did some research while I was cooking curry. About movies. Summer break, so there are some fun movies playing right now.
映画か。
You're not interested in them?
ない。
That was blunt. Then wanna go look close? There's a sale at Windy right now.
着るものならこと足りているぞ。
I see. How about bowling?
葵くんがやりたいならそれでいいぞ。
She put it that way. I'm not especially interested in bowling. Come to think of it, she's not interested in anything that young girls normally like to do. Is there anywhere you want to go?
そうだ
She put her
な。
fingers on her lips as she thought. It was a very cute gesture.
泳ぎに行きたいぞ。
In a pool? It was among the date spots that Kaneko listed. It's rather advanced stuff, though. Normally, people don't go to a pool on the first date since you have to expose a lot of skin there.
いや、違う。去年みんなで行っただろ？湖にある砂浜に。
I know what the next sex scene is gonna be. There.
また行きたい。すごく楽しかったんだ。
The smile was so cute when you said it happily. So I had to go there tomorrow.
それじゃあ、行ってくる。
Please take care of the dorm and hat.
はいよー。
Just like last year, the little known beach was completely
ハ
empty.
ットも連れてきてあげればよかったのに。
Nah, it wouldn't have been a date then. I said it firmly. It was a very important thing for me.
デートだったのか。
She said it like she'd only realized it just now. No, she really did notice it just now. What did you think this was?
湖に泳ぎに来たものと。
When a couple goes out and spends time together, it's called a date.
へえ、勉強になったぞ。
Senpai became a little wiser. Okay, let's change clothes. Are you wearing a swimsuit already?
いや、
Then go change behind that rock. I'll keep watch.
葵くんに見張られてると、ちょっと恥ずかしいぞ。
I won't be watching you!
そうか、わかった。
She took her bag and hurriedly went behind the rock. I don't think anyone would come by here, but I kept watch just in case. Waited for a little while.
着替えてきたぞ。
She came back from behind the rock.
どうした？
Ignore me. I just saw something magical, that's all. Nothing. When I saw Senpai in a swimsuit in broad daylight, it was such an alluring sight, I reflexively looked away. Amane sure has such a great figure! Even though she's so soft when I hug her, she doesn't have any excess fat. Her breasts do have plenty of extra flesh, though.
葵くんは着替えないのか？
Yep, I'll get changed. I was already wearing my swimsuit underneath my clothes, so I just took off my shirt and pants. Well then, let's go swimming.
ああ。
We ran into the water, splashing around like kids.
冷たくて気持ちいい
There! Senpai, who was playing around in the shallow end, was surprised when I splashed her with water.
な。やったな。それ、それ。
Ah! She splashed me too. Hey!
それそれ。
We splashed each other for a while. I've seen couples playing in the water like this in manga and old movies, but I never thought there were people who actually did that. Well, here's one. We're doing it. And it's trivial. This trivial thing is actually really fun. Ah! You made a funny face there.
やったな。
She got worked up and tried to get revenge on me, but I ran.
あ、待て、葵くん。
I know he's waiting for you. I made fun of her and she started chasing me. Started running around in the shallow water. I'm right here, senpai.
待て。
I can see something bad happening. I let her catch up with me on purpose.
捕まえた。
She spread her arms and tried to hug me. Slipped. I dodged her attack and she fell face first into the water.
ひどいぞ、葵くん。
You're slow, senpai.
いいんだ、いいんだ。どうせ私はどんくさいんだ。
She sulked cutely and I helped her stand
付
up.
き合いだ。
Huh? Oh! She tackled me and we fell down in the water, embracing each other. What was that noise?
頭脳プレーというやつだな。
Can't beat you in that field. We talked about that while we were playing in the water. I was very happy to share this childish fun with the
な、
senpai.
今度はあれがしたい。
She pointed at a big rock towering at the side of the lake. That?
またやってくれないか？
She looked at me with high expectations, but it's only me. It'd be a little tough for me to pick her up and toss her into the water. But I can't refuse her when she looks at me with those sparkling eyes. Okay, let's do this. As I said that, I stood up and held her in my arms. I carried her towards the big rock, and I climbed up that natural jumping platform. Hang on tight.
おう。
Ready? Go! While I was still holding her, I jumped into the water. huge spray of water splashed around as we fell into the lake, embracing each other. Bubbles came up, and I looked at the sky from under the clear water. It was filled with mystical sparkles. Here, have a drink.
ありがとう。
After we played for a while, we got tired. We were sunbathing on the sandy beach.
太陽が気持ちいいな。
Usually don't get too much sunlight, do you? She's in her room or the garage most of the time. In her room, she even keeps the curtains shut. It's definitely unhealthy. You should think about your health a little more.
わかった。
Senpai nodded honestly. Even though she's much older, she's like a little kid.
たまにはこうして外へ出るべきだな。去年ここへ来た時もすごく楽しかった。
That time we came here with everyone.
なんだか遠い昔みたいだ。
Did you go swimming with Isuka?
しなかったな。多分イスカの体質のせいだと思う。あの子は昼間運動しすぎると夜熱を出すことがあると言っていた。
She had a frail body. Anchan also says so. So, what did you usually do?
野良猫を捕まえて撫でたり、近所の犬をからかったり、ザリガニ釣りをしたり。
Wonder why I feel like I'm experiencing deja vu. Isn't it the same stuff as that was on Koteri's to-do list?
あれはあれで楽しかった。イスカと遊んでいると予想外の出来事ばかり起こる。この世界の本質はカオスで、我々の知恵や知識の及ぶ範囲など、ごく限られているのだと思い知らされる。
Huh? Don't talk about catching crayfish or teasing dogs like it was something so magnificent. I laid down on the beach and basked in the sunlight. As I did so, I let my mind go blank and didn't worry about trifling matters. Huh? Senpai was staring at me. What is it?
いや、なんだか熱い砂浜と太陽とに挟まれて、炙り焼きされてるようだと思ってな。美味しそうだ。
Senpai was drooling as she looked at me. It sounds kind of dirty, so please stop it.
やらしい意味も兼ねているぞ。
Like you'd expect to be like actually like yes, you actually kind of look like steak there, but nah, she wants to she wants to devour sausage. That's even worse.
どうしてだ？やらしいのはいけないのか？
It's not necessarily wrong, but
なあ、葵くん。
Senpai crawled on the sand and saddled up to me.
あれ以来、君は私に性欲を感じなくなったんだろうか。
What are you talking about?
いや、だって、私は常日頃から感じているのに、それだと不公平だと思っていたんだ。
Ah, yes, Amane is the big horny. She feels it every day.
今なんて、特にだ。
She said it with a flushed face. Ye seemed to be licking all over my body that was covered by my shorts.
ジュルリ。
Stop drooling! What are you saying in a place like this?
だって、葵くんがそんないい体を惜しげもなく晒すからいけないんだ。
She said sulkily and looked at me with upturned eyes. But it's not unfair at all. I also, I must admit, I've been staring at Senpai and her swimsuit as well. Up until now, I've been trying not to do this, though. Senpai, you also have a super sexy body.
そうなのか?
She looked at herself as if she was verifying it. Her figure was excellent, though she was a little on the plump side. Her bikini was slightly biting into her soft marshmallow-like body that was so pleasant to touch. And most of all, those overflowing breasts. They looked like they could burst out of that bikini at any moment. No, not really. They actually look quite nicely secured. If we went to a public pool instead, I'm sure she would have attracted a lot of glances. I'm glad we came here. I'm gonna notice the change in my body. I sat up and hid my crotch with my hands. It's not what you think! This just an accident!
そんなはずはないぞ。体は正直なものだ。
Stuff you were saying just now is normally what guys say!
いいではないか、いいではないか。
Amane slowly sidled up to me, and her body stuck to mine. was soft. Senpai's body was soft everywhere, as if it was made entirely out of boobs. Then she reached for my groin. What?
ちょっと。
Wait, for what? I reflexively let out a weird
す
voice.
ごく硬いぞ。興奮している証拠じゃないのか？
Like I said, it's not unfair. I said while I was staring at Senpai's cleavage without reservations anymore. Her body was as lewd as ever. Her slightly heated, wet skin was plump and soft.
これ、ほっといても大丈夫なのか？
It should come back to normal eventually, though I can't say this with confidence. If I'm with Senpai in her bikini, it might stay like this for good. Don't forget, if you hold an erection for more than 8 hours, consult your doctor. Amane's Viagra.
じゃあ、
She snuggled up against
しないか？セックス。
Gulp. No, we can't. There's no way we can do it in such a place.
でも、このままじゃ葵くんがかわいそうだ。
Whose fault do you think this is?
私にできることがあるなら言ってくれ。葵くんのために何かしたいんだ。
The fact that she was pressing her breasts against me while she was saying that probably wasn't calculated or anything. Just a coincidence. An unconscious action. But Senpai's a woman, and women instinctively know how to defeat a man. Then, gulp. Could you do it with your breasts?
胸で？ああ、構わないが。どうすればいいんだ？
I got up and took her by the hand, and we walked away behind the huge rock that we jumped off of earlier. Here we won't have to worry about being seen.
ああ。
Yeah, Amane says. Senpai faltered a little when I looked at her in a different way than before. The eyes of a beast. The lust that couldn't stop was oozing out from them.
どうすればいい？
What should I do, Amane says. Please order between your bests.
了解した。
Roger, Amane says. And that's CG. And that's HC music. See you afterwards. They done doing the fuck. Whoops, accidentally just yeeted that off to the side. We did some crazy stuff. After we finished, we rested on the sandy beach for a while. When my head cooled off, I realized what crazy things we had just done. However, Senpai...
そうか？
She said and drew close to me. It's bad to do this kind of stuff outdoors, right?
気持ちよかったからいいんだ。
Oh no, just don't become an exhibitionist. She smiled warmly. She really goes at her own pace. Same here. Felt great. It was too stimulating, so right now I was somewhat dazed.
またしような。セックス。
Yeah, but next time in the house. She nodded and I embraced her. Our bodies were burning hot. We were wet with plenty of sweat mixed with our other body fluids.
好きだぞ。
Bodily fluids.
葵くん。
Love you too, Senpai. We gently embraced, kissed, and closed our eyes. I'm sure there are a few ethical issues with what we did, but right now I couldn't care less about them.
ただいま。おっかえりー。わっかー。どうでしたか？デートは。デートっていいな。楽しいし、それに刺激的だ。へえ、刺激的ね。
Why are you looking at me like that?
いえいえ、プライベートを詮索するほど、あたしゃ野暮じゃございませんことよ。
She said while grinning.
うまくいったようで何よりだよ、葵くん。それより、お腹すいた。私もだ。いっぱい体を動かしたから、もうお腹ペコペコだ。
Oh, this wasn't actually just for... Also, it says the price on the bottom. I didn't have to look this up earlier. I'm fucking retarded.
わわ。
Okay, I'll heat up some curry right away.
はーい、カレーだ。一晩置いたからより美味しくなってるんだぞ。
Kanako, did you cook rice?
おー、バッチリだよ。カレー、カレー。クワックワッ。
I felt relieved after we came back to the dormitory. Exciting dates are great, but I also like ordinary things like eating good curry together. In the end, when I'm with Senpai, whatever we do is fun. Days have been flying by since Isuka and I revived the Soaring Club. We were approaching the summer when we'd both become fourth years.
ほら、ここだよ。うっすらひびが入ってる。もう、また作り直しだよ。
これだけ大きいものを作るとなると、普通は起こらないような問題も発生してくるな。達也はなんて言ってるんだ？
型の作り方から考え直した方がいいって。発泡スチロールなら安いし加工しやすいんじゃないかって言ってた。
なるほど。
どうしてうまくいかないんだろう。早く飛ばないといけないのに。
どうしてだ？我々はまだ4年生だ。時間ならあるぞ。
そうだけど、もう少ししたら夏休みだし、そしたら朝からやるよ。
それは構わないのだが、私は手伝えないかもしれない。
なんで？
父の命令でな。大学へ行かないなら、せめて夏休みの間だけでも勉強してこいと、アメリカへ行くことになりそうなんだ。あっちの大学にある研究室に父の友人がいて、そこで手伝いでもしてこいと。私は嫌だと言ったんだが、大学編入を拒んだ手前、無下にもできなくてな。
そうなんだ。
アメリカの研究施設を見た私が刺激を受けて、留学したがるに違いないと、父は目論んでいるらしい。父は私に似てバカでな。浅はかなんだ。
アメリカ行っちゃうの？
夏休みの間だけだ。何、すぐ帰ってくる。
そうなんだ。へえ、やっぱすごいね、アマネは。
いいっすか？
そっか。いいじゃない、留学。アマネには日本じゃ狭すぎるってね。
だから、留学などしないと言ってるじゃないか。父を納得させたら、なるべく早く帰ってくるよ。さ、その発泡スチロールで型を作るやり方を調べてみよう。達也が言うなら間違いないだろう。
1 year had passed since we resurrected the Soaring Club. We haven't flown the glider ever since the first test flight that had ended in a complete failure. We're just amateurs, so first and foremost, we had to think about the construction methods. Even so, I still had fun. It's refreshing to learn and discover new things while we were constantly failing. More than anything, it was exciting to build things together with Isuka and Tatsuya. It was slow, but I knew we were making steady progress. However, that wasn't the case for Isuka.
何が何でも、この子を夏休み中に飛ばす。そうしないといけないんだ。
Why was she in such a hurry? Didn't notice anything.
もしもし、葵、聞こえる？
Loud and clear.
どんな感じ？
Oh, it's good. The rudder that we adjusted the other day is working much better.
小鳥、どう？楽しんでる？もちろんよ。空から眺める風が浦の街並みは綺麗ね。
We'll try to fly a little more, but if we can't catch a thermal, we'll come back.
了解。気をつけてね。
Since the Obon festival has finished, Kotori and the others, who had gone home to see their families, returned to Kazagawa. We resumed tests immediately.
葵くん、操縦上手くなったんじゃない？
Not sure.
休み前に乗せてもらった時よりずっとスムーズよ。乗り心地がいい。
As I've gotten used to this fuselage, there's no doubt my abilities are improving, but it's harder to control than the previous one. Right now I'm adjusting to those changes while I'm getting more practice, but Can't find any good thermals. Seems the air currents have calmed down.
もっと高く上がりたいのに。
We'll circle around one more time and then head back to the runway.
わかった。
望月め、理事会に気に入られてるからって好き勝手やるよって、あのことを忘れたのか。やはりあの時、あれを渡さなかった俺の判断は間違っていなかった。もし渡していたら今頃。
Yep, they're gonna try to redeem him.
ん？あいつらめ。
お疲れ
After we landed up the canopy, we felt the cool breeze.
ー。あじー。水。はーいよ。よく冷えたお水だよ。ありがとう、アゲハ。愛してる。葵くんも。
Thanks. Gulp, gulp. Flying this season is tough.
先輩、タオルどうぞ。
Amane-Route brought us towels. Took the towel and wiped my face. Then I took Senpai's hand and got out of the cockpit.
どうだった上は。
Not good. The air currents have calmed down and we can't find good thermals.
そっか。今日は機体の調整に集中した方が良さそうだね。
We should be starting our training for the real thing pretty soon. Reaching an altitude of 2 kilometers where the Warning Glory appears using winch towing is no easy feat.
ねえ、次、誰が乗る？はいはいはい。私は姉さんの後でいいわ。了解。じゃあ私はウインチ担当ね。
When I'm flying, I can give someone a ride. That's a good part of the 2-seater glider. I'm the pilot after all. For others who did their best working on the remodeling and maintenance of the glider, flying in those tests is a fine reward.
じゃあ少し休憩したらまた上がってくれる？
Yeah, that sounds good.
お前たち！
I will brandish the thing.
ゲゲ。なんかややこしいのが来た。
Tabioka came striding across the runway. Kotri, who just made a disgusted face, straightened out her expression, and as the club president, got ready to take the worst part of what was coming.
何かご用ですか？飛岡先生。
誰に許可を取ってここを使っている？
ちゃんと持ち主に許可もらってますけど。
そんなはずはない。先日、うちの生徒に滑走路を使わせないよう要請しておいたはずだ。
はあ？何それ？小鳥先輩、血が出てます。敬語。
とにかく、すぐに撤収しろ。
We exchanged
じゃあ、
glances.
確認してからで。
この俺がダメだと言っているんだ。
飛岡先生。
Amane, who has been watching from behind, timidly stepped forward.
一応私が顧問ということになっているので、何かあるなら私に言っていただきたいのですが。
何が顧問だ。あんな形で学校に居残って迷惑をかけ続け、やっと卒業したと思ったら。
Senpai made an apologetic face.
さっきまた飛んでいたようだが、誰が乗っていたんだ？
I was. I raised my hand and stepped forward. We weren't doing anything wrong, so I faced him boldly.
一人か？
No.
私も乗ってました。
Tabioka looked at Kotri and frowned.
望月、お前、ハバネの体のこと、分かっているのか？
分かっていますが。
ならどうして？
ちょっと、私の体がなんだってのよ。
Kotri instantly snapped with anger, but nobody stopped her. Rather, we backed her up and glared at Tabioka.
そうです。足が不自由でも、グライダーの座席には座れます。一体、何の問題が？
親御さんが心配するとは思わんのか？
When her parents were mentioned, Kotri faltered. Certainly, they would worry. But still, saying that right in front of Kotri was awful. It's like I was making light of her. I wanted to talk back right away, however, I bit my tongue at the last moment. I thought he was insulting Kotri, but his expression looked like he was honestly worried about her. Because of that, I missed the right timing, and in the end, I didn't say anything.
潔のこと、忘れたとは言わさんぞ。お前のせいで、あいつは、潔は、 また同じことを繰り返すつもりか。
Trabuka glared at the dumbfounded Amane.
とにかく、今日は撤収しろ。いいな。
He said just that and strode away without waiting for a response.
あまねちゃん。いや、すまないみんな。私が顧問として不甲斐ないばっかりに。
Are you alright, senpai?
平気だ。悪いがみんな、今日のところは撤収してくれ。滑走路の持ち主と、これから話をしてくるから。
There wasn't anything we could do about it, so we cut today's flights short.
飛岡先生がそんなことを。
Anchan and everyone from the soaring club except Amane gathered in the dining hall at Flying Fish Manor.
なんであいつ、私たちを目の敵にするのかしら。陰険っていうか、さすがにちょっとしつこすぎるよね。
Anchan thought about what they just said.
もしかすると、俺たちのせいかもしれない。
What do you mean? Anchan thought hard for a moment and then started talking.
俺の知っている飛岡先生は、真面目で教育熱心で、どちらかというと公正な人だった。そりゃ、暑苦しくて嫌われることもあったし、好かれるタイプじゃなかったが、少なくとも、俺は嫌いじゃなかったな。
嘘。いやいや、それはさすがに。
特に自分が担任しているクラスの生徒には、面倒見が良くて好かれていたぞ。
We all had doubtful expressions.
それが変わったのは、あの事故からだ。
Accident? Realized where this is going right away. Only us and Yoru, who didn't know all the details, had puzzled expressions.
イスカは当時、飛岡先生が担任するクラスにいたんだ。気まぐれな野良猫みたいなイスカに、堅物の先生は手を焼いてるみたいだった。
Anchan smiled as he remembered those times and talked about
だから、ソアリング部の活動にも気を配っていた。イスカやアマネに尋ねても拉致が開かないから、よく俺のところに活動状況を聞きに来てたよ。
意外とマメな人なんですね。何言ってるのよ姉さん。嫌がらせもマメだったじゃない。そっか。どうしてそんなに気にしてたのかしら。
さあ、イスカが体が弱かったからだと思うけど、単に危なっかしいやつだったからかもしれない。そんなある日、心配していた出来事が起こった。あの事故だ。
We all swallowed loudly, not only because it was a serious incident, but that there was also the fact that a glider incident could happen to us. What kind of accident was it?
俺もアマネも事故があったことしか知らない。あの時、アマネはアメリカにいて、俺も風ヶ浦を離れていたんだ。
Like, that's the thing. It seems like he's blaming her at this point, but what the fuck was he supposed to do? Honest to God, like, as far as we know, Isuka tried to do this shit on her own? Which, that is already, like, all her fault when she tries to fucking start a glider on her own. That's not how gliders work.
俺たちがそれを知った時、イスカはすでに退学していて、ガレージには壊れた機体が残されていた。状況から見て、無理なフライトをして落ちたのが原因らしかった。
落ちた。
As we just came back from today's test flight, those words sounded extremely vivid to us.
機体に原因があったんですか。
Anchan nodded.
主翼に亀裂が入っていたんだ。応急処置はしてあったようだが。
なんでイスカさんは、アンちゃんもアマネ先輩もいないのに、そんな機体でフライトしようとしたの？
イスカとアマネがソアリング部を復活させて1年。試行錯誤を重ねたものの、ろくな成果を上げられずにいた。いつまでも飛べないでいることに、イスカは焦っていたんだろうと思う。先生らからのプレッシャーもあったしな。
Pressure from the teachers. Anchan nodded with a bitter expression.
本来アマネは、慶風学園に来るような生徒じゃない。それが、お父さんの縁故と通いやすさがあって、慶風学園に入学してきた。アマネにとってはどこでもよかったんだと思う。実際あいつは3年の時、大学編入を拒んだ。その理由が、勉強ならどこでもできる、だからな。
Anchan smiled dryly. For Amane, the idea of learning from others must have been kind of unconvincing. If there was something she wanted to know, she researched and experimented for herself. She considered that common sense. Seems that she drew the blueprints for the airframe that we are testing now entirely thanks to self-studying. Still, they took a while to draw.
その天音がイスカのような不良生徒にそそのかされて何の成果も出ないグライダー製作をしている。天津さえ大学編入を拒んでまで。
なるほど。
Yoru guessed the rest and nodded.
望月天音という天才の輝かしい未来が台無しにされかねない。ってところかしら。
It was Anchan's turn to nod. Yoru sighed with a hint of annoyance. She was fed up with the word genius again. She probably is expected to have a bright future that has nothing to do with what she wants herself.
スワリング部。そして、イスカへの風当たりが強くなり、あいつは焦っていたみたいだった。
その成果っていうのが、テストフライトを成功させること。
But she failed. Attempting a risky flight with a damaged glider cost her a huge price. The aircraft was partially destroyed, and Isuka...
あの頃、ほとんどの先生が天音の将来を憂い、イスカを悪者にしようとしていた。ただ一人、飛岡先生を除いて、な。飛岡先生は担任としてイスカをかばい、天音もイスカも同等に扱うよう働きかけていたんだ。
Everyone felt depressed about Isuka, but also that we didn't know how to deal with the unimaginable side of Tobioka, who we thought was just a nasty oppressive teacher.
じゃあ飛岡は、それでスワリング部を、天音ちゃんを恨んでるってこと？
Anchan shook his head, showing that he doesn't know.
でもそれって逆恨みじゃん。天音先輩は悪くないよ。
俺もそう思うよ。それに、その事情をさっぴいても、飛岡先生が未だに固執してるのは不自然に感じる。
Today, it seemed like Tobioka was worried about Kotori. Did this remind him of the issue with Isuka, or was he simply concerned as a teacher for the disabled?
誰が悪いってわけじゃないのかもしれない。誰も悪くなくても、うまくいかないことだってある。
So you haven't seen Isuka since then?
ああ、そうだ。
I exchanged glances with Asa and Yoru. They nodded and turned towards Anchan. The reason we had Anchan come here today wasn't just to talk about Tobioka.
ミサギイスカさんのこと、おじいちゃんにお願いして聞いてきました。
Anchan's expression tensed up slightly.
今、どこにいるかはわかりません。けど、事故で亡くなったとかじゃないそうです。もともと体が弱かったとかで、もうずっとどこかの療養所にいるみたい。
療養所？
場所までは聞けませんでした。向こうは娘のことを詮索されるのを嫌がったみたいで。連絡先も教えてもらえませんでした。
He looked at Anchan.
そうか。ちゃんと無事なんだな。
Saying that she's alright is rather questionable, considering she's staying at a sanatorium, but at least she survived the accident. Anchan had a complex expression. He seemed relieved as he muttered.
療養所。
Then he was lost in
ご
thought.
めんなさい。あまりお役に立てなくて。
いや、そんなことはないよ。すごく助かる。ありがとう、二人とも。
It's not much information, but for Anchan, it's the first he's heard about Isuka since the impact
ところで、
accident.
天音のやつ遅いな。
そういえば、
Everyone looked at me. What? That we had interrupted the test and left the runway, she went to talk to the owner. And she said she had something to do and went back to the
あいつにも
garage.
話したのか？
Yep. She reacted just like you. She had mixed feelings but seemed relieved.
そうか。
ねえ、葵。迎えに行った方がいいんじゃない？
Yeah, I guess. The sun was already down. It was pitch black outside. Why is she taking so long? Started to worry.
葵。
Anchan? Anchan had come outside after me. I guess he's going home already. He started walking side by side.
今日はありがとうな、葵。
I haven't really done anything. The ones who deserve your gratitude are Asa and Yoru.
まあ、そうなんだけどな。けど、お前がつなげてくれた。イスカやアマネとも、他のみんなともな。 お前がみんなをつなげてる。
So that's so. I think they would have been getting along well, even without me. Without me around. They thought that Anchan laughed happily. Rub, rub, rub. Oh, Anchan! He suddenly rubbed my head.
お前はそれでいい。
What? Asked him since I didn't get what he was talking about, but he just laughed without answering.
俺はお前のようにできなかった。イスカがいなくなった後、アマネはひどい状態だった。誰とも接することなく、無表情にガレージにこもり続ける毎日。けど俺は何もしてやれなかった。自分のことで手一杯だったから。
Because you loved Isuka, right?
ああ。お前らにアンちゃんって呼ばれて大人ぶってたけど、まだガキだったんだな。俺も。いなくなったイスカより、目の前にいる親友に手を貸すべきだった。今のあいつを見てると、あの頃のことが嘘みたいだ。だから、余計に不安になる。また何かの表紙に、あんな風になっちまうんじゃないかって。ま、大丈夫か。今は葵がいるもんな。
Put his arm around my shoulder and hugged me tight.
お前は俺の誇りだよ。葵みたいな弟がいてよかった。
But I haven't really done anything. Embarrassed, I mumbled a response. It made me happy to be praised, but it didn't make me nearly as happy as being called his brother. Besides, it's not just me. Escotriaga, us, and Yoru, and, well, you too.
ああ、そうだったな。
While we were walking, we reached a point where our paths parted.
じゃあな、葵。いろいろありがとうな。
Nah, thank you. See you, Anchan. Good night. Anchan waved goodbye and headed home. Glad I managed to help him, even just a little. He said quietly as I watched him walk away. The school was covered in darkness. Through the windows, I could see faint emergency lights in hallways and emergency exits. One of Amane still there. I tried calling her, but she didn't answer. Rather, I heard a ringtone come from her room on the second floor, so she must have left her phone there. And now what's the point of having a cell phone then? As I muttered that, I imagined Senpai secluding herself in the garage, avoiding even Anchan. Just couldn't imagine her like that. I didn't want to. She said that when she was little, the world looked grey to her. That she grew up without really feeling any joy. It's probably because she's a genius. It's probably because as a genius, Amane couldn't really follow the thoughts of normal kids around her. It must have been hard for those kids to empathize with her too. She was just passing around others by like that all the time. The one who changed that was Isuka. She was assertively interacting with her. As a fellow outsider, she understood Amane and closed the distance between them. That's what friendship is about. Isuka may have been Amane's first friend. The first friend to call her an idiot, and the first to treat her as an equal. That friend suddenly disappeared, without saying anything. It must have been hard, Senpai. When I thought that, I became restless. But now she's probably all alone in the garage. Senpai! I passed through the courtyard and hurried behind the school building to the garage. Just as I thought, the light was on in the garage. Senpai! When I peeked aside, Amane was doing something on the computer and was staring fixatedly on at the monitor. She was so focused that I refrained from calling out to her.
なるほどな。
What is she watching? I guess she's working. From time to time, her expression was showing signs of surprise or admiration. Then she let out a slightly astonished voice, and her face drew closer to the monitor. She almost literally got her nose on the screen. Since I missed the chance to call out to her, I curiously peeked at the monitor from behind her. Again! Again! Huh? The screen had a movie featuring a naked man and woman grappling on one another. It's porno movie.
なるほどな。こういうのもあるのか。
Just his face, just like, what the fuck, and I love it. Don't give me that, I see! What are you watching? What do you mean by do it like that? Moans of the bad porn actress were resounding from the cheap PC speakers. I was worried, so I came to get you.
これはだな、勉強をしようと。
What were you studying?
セックスだが。
And she answered like she was wondering why I even asked. I felt speechless and my energy was drained. I hung my head and put my hands on the desk.
そこか。
I let out an indescribable voice, grabbed the mouse, and closed the video.
今いいところだったのに。
Good part, my ass! Thump. Why are you studying about sex?
知識に乏しいからだ。
She said it like it was obvious.
それに、葵くんとセックスするのが好きだから。
She looked at me as if she was asking if there's something wrong. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but
じゃあ何がいけないんだ？
like I said, because that's everything's wrong from now on. It's forbidden.
いいじゃないか、ケチ。
I'm not stingy. I'm stingy. I mean, stopped talking and turned my back on her. Then I sat down like that. I wanted to show her that I was angry.
葵くん、怒っているのか？
I don't care anymore. I was worried about her. To think that she was just browsing porn sites here. Well, I just got worried at my own accord after her Danshan story, but still.
おい、葵くん。
Hmm.
葵くんが怒ってしまったぞ。どうしよう。
Senpai was flustered.
なあ、葵くん。なあってば。
Senpai tried to look into my face from behind, but...
もう見ないから。だから許してくれないか？
Nope. Senpai groaned and she seemed greatly troubled. I pitied her a little, but I couldn't let her get away with it too easily.
どうしたら許してくれる？
She was depressed and sounded as if she was about to cry. It would be wrong to tease her any more than this. I glanced at her. If you let me lay my head on your lap, I muttered with a red face, and her expression instantly brightened up.
する。してあげるぞ、膝枕。
He said and tapped her lap joyfully. Put my head on her lap. I was pretending to be angry, but I was overjoyed on the inside. I was sure that my face was bright red.
おお、葵くんの機嫌が治ってきたかもしれない。
She said as she surveyed my expression. Not yet. I turned away on her lap.
まだだった。
She rubbed my head to butter me up.
こうしてると、実家の猫を思い出すな。母が飼ってるんだ。虎吉といって、一家の中で2番目に偉い。
Who's the most important?
もちろん母だ。
Wait, the cat is second? What about the other family members?
私が3番目で、父が最下位だ。
Harsh? What kind of criteria is that based on?
虎吉は偉いから、もし膝に乗られたら、虎吉が満足するまで動いてはいけない。それが我が家の絶対的ルールなのだ。
That'd be a problem for my house, since Chili will not get up out of your fucking lap if he lays down there unless you push him off, or he needs to go to the toilet. Chili is a very, well, fitting for the cat, chill cat. He does not really run around a lot. He's basically like fucking just lying somewhere and just doing nothing most of the time, or seeking the cuddles and pets. Despite still being a pretty young cat. That rule sounds troublesome.
すぐ拗ねるからな、虎吉は。今の葵くんみたいに。でも、そこが可愛いんだ。
She was smiling joyfully while she was rubbing my head. See, she's treating me like a cat. But if that means I can cuddle on her lap, it's not that bad. Feels nice to be spoiled like that. I adore mother now. If I came back to Kazigawara, I stayed with my dad at the countryside and did housework. My mother isn't the type of pampers her kids, so I didn't have much experience with being spoiled before. I think only Anshin did that from time to time. That's why, if she spoils me like this, I want to stay like this way forever. Senpai? Roll. I rolled over on her lap.
どうしたんだ、葵くん。
I love you.
私も好きだぞ、葵くん。
Want you to kiss me?
いいぞ。
She agreed readily and leaned over to me. Her hair tickled my nose. Boing. Her breasts. They pressed against my face before she kissed me. A sweet kiss. My face heated up with happiness and embarrassment.
よし、今度こそ機嫌が治ってきた。
Not yet. That's definitely not enough. I wasn't angry at all anymore, but I still claimed otherwise. Because I just wanted to be pampered.
じゃあ、どうすればいい？何かしてほしいことはないかい？
Wow.
あ、なるほどな。
I have an odd feeling. It seems Senpai had guessed something
ちょ
from
っ
my
と待ってて
gaze.
くれ。よいしょっと。
Yep! I knew it! I knew it! I'm fucking good. How about that, she says, with her tits out. I spurted out. What are you doing, senpai?
好きだろ？
You
私
like
のお
them,
っぱい。
don't you? My boobs, Amane says. I still don't... I guess I can just show the lower bit. That was close, actually. That almost showed something. That is why I did not want to get rid of that. It's staying now. Fuck off. Her breasts were right before my eyes. They were elastic, captivating, and had excellent shape. Even though they were huge, they don't droop at all. I ended up staring at them in a daze. I bet I made a really stupid face right now.
触って
You
もいい
can
んだ
touch
ぞ。
them if you like, Amane says. As I looked at them in silence, Senpai bent forward and brought them closer to me. Boing. Soft and smooth boobs touched my face. Kinda lick them for a bit. I will just assume this is an HC now. See you afterwards. I am back and I have ingested melatonin! After we cleaned up and got ourselves dressed, I fell on my knees and hung my head completely crestfallen.
どうしたんだ、葵くん。まるで落ち込んでいるかのようなポーズをして。
How could I not be depressed? As my mind cleared from my sexual arousal and I was able to think rationally again, I realized what we just did. That doesn't make me look some kind of pervert? No, I'm definitely a pervert now. Moreover, I was seriously aroused by that. Father, mother, I had been defiled.
大げさだな。足こきで言ってしまったくらいで。
I'll say stuff like for job.
確かに私もどうかと思うぞ。足で踏まれていってしまうなんて、人としてどうかと思う。けど、いいじゃないか。興奮したんだから。
You're too perverted! I'd be slut after all.
そうかもな。葵くんに対してだけ淫乱だ。
Why are you so happy about it? Really now, this girl. Sure she sees the world sparkling with hot pink right now. Just making sure, but never ever tell anyone about this, okay?
そうなのか？わかった。
Was she actually planning on to tell someone? Well then, let's go home. I'm getting quite hungry.
少しだけ待ってくれ。今、仕事のデータをダウンロードしている最中なんだ。
We're browsing porn sites while taking a break from work? That's something an older man who slacks off at work would do. Seems like the download should be done in about 5 minutes. I had nothing to do, so I just sat on the chair and relaxed. I took the picture of the morning glory that was standing on the desk. When Isuka saw this, she wanted to fly with the glider, right?
ああ、そうだ。ガレージに残されていたフライトログに挟まっていた。
Photo of an unbelievably magnificent cloud. It's only natural that seeing this would pique your interest. As I gazed at the picture, Senpai looked at me somewhat uneasily. What's the matter? She looked down for a moment, as if she had a hard time speaking about
イ
it.
スカたちとここで活動していた頃、その写真は今と同じように机の上にあった。けど、イスカがいなくなった後、写真立ての中から写真だけが消えていた。
Now that you mentioned it, it was Kotri who found this picture. She said it wasn't Isuka's flight log, for that picture frame was standing here, empty. That was before we joined the club. That means she took it out on purpose?
なぜだと思う？
Certainly a little weird. Flight log was also hidden at Flying Fish Manor in Kotri's room. Maybe she just did it on a whim? It's possible it doesn't mean anything.
かもしれないな。
We're talking about someone who hit Senpai's glasses here. Oh, looks like the download is done. Senpai moved the mouse and turned off the computer. Okay, let's go home. I'm sure everyone is worried.
ああ、
Put the framed picture back on the desk. Tied down tightly so the wind won't blow it away. After the flight test, we put the glider on the trailer. We moored it to the ground and covered it with a sheet. We didn't put the glider in the trailer. We moored it to the ground and covered it with a sheet. We didn't take the glider apart today and just left it here like this.
いよいよ合宿が始まるんですね。
Asa's eyes were shining.
合宿って言っても、当番決めて早起きするだけだけどね。
でもワクワクします。
わかるわ、その気持ち。私も去年の夏はそうだったもの。
Kotri looked towards the setting sun. We started our training camp today. The morning glory could appear at the end of summer, around the end of August, or the beginning of September. In order to spot its signs as soon as possible and fly right away, we'll be leaving the glider and here without disassembling it, and a person on duty will be waking up early to observe the sky. Those unusual circumstances made us all excited.
滑走路続けて使えることになってよかったよね。あまねちゃんのおかげよ。ね、あまねちゃん。
私は別に何もしてないぞ。
She said without turning towards us while she was checking the mooring of the fuselage.
ただ、先方に頼みに行っただけだ。
The other day, Tobioka tried to prevent us from using the runway, but we got permission to use it again right away. Apparently, Tobioka was almost threatening the owners and said that if we have an accident, they would be held responsible. Amane said not only got permission from the school, but also reassured the owners they won't be held responsible for anything. I'm sure they were a little confused, but they are the former members of the Soaring Club in the end. They are our allies at heart.
でも、学校側があっさりこっちの言い分を認めたのって、やっぱりあまね先輩だからですよ。さすが大物は違うわね。あまねちゃんを引っ張り込んでおいて正解だったわ。
Cut it out with that wicked laughter. Senpai was looking at our exchange with a weak smile. She probably felt uncomfortable receiving special treatment like that.
でも、それだと飛び岡って先生のメンツ、丸つぶれなんじゃ。確かに、いつも学校じゃ大きな顔してるのに、あっさり覆されたんじゃ、相当カリカリ来てるかも。
We didn't really want to confront him. We were just fed up. Whoops. We were just fed up that he usually pokes his nose in our business. Kotri looked at the glider covered with the sheet. What's wrong, Kotri?
グライダー、ここに置いておいて、飛び岡に壊されちゃったりしないかしら。いや、さすがにそこまでは。逆恨みによる、一時的感情の爆発が起こるかも。やっぱり持って帰った方が。移動と組み立てに時間かかりすぎるし、そしたらモーニンググローリーが来た時、フライトのタイミングを逃しちゃうよ。それに、ガレージに置いてても同じことじゃないかしら。飛岡先生もガレージの鍵使えるもんね。そっか。
I really don't think he'd do that. That aside, I'm hungry. Let's go back and eat something. We left filled with anxiety. Set up a camera.
奴ら、まだ戻ってきていないのか。
There was nobody in the garage and the glider wasn't there either. They're probably still at the runway.
まったく、勝手なことばかりしよって。
Tried to interfere and prevent them from using the runway, but it was futile. That's because the board of directors is really fond of Mochizuki. The teachers also expect too much from her. They think she could make Keifu Academy
あい
famous.
つがどんな実績を作ろうと、 それはあいつのものでしかない。
Mochizuki's a genius. She would get the same achievements regardless of where she was. It wouldn't be an achievement for our students. Other than that, I want to help students who are trying their hardest. Like, for example, to graduate properly.
Misagi.
僕、ちゃんと卒業したいんです。こんな体だから、難しいかもだけど。
なら、ちゃんと授業に出ろ、バカ者。出席日数が足りなくなるぞ。
いや、そこはほら、虚弱体質だから。
飛び魚荘の管理人から報告してもらってる。サボりの時とそうじゃない時くらい、分かってるんだぞ。おばあ
ちゃんひどい。
ところで、これか。グライダーっていうのは。
はい、そうです。これを僕たちが直して飛ぶんです。
よくもまあ、こんなもの。
順調とは言い難いけど、でも楽しいですよ。あまねもいるし。
望月か。あいつとお前とでは住む世界が。
こんなので空飛んで雲の上まで行っちゃうんですよ。きっとすごい体験になるんだろうな。
そうかもしれんな。
もし飛べるようになったら先生も乗せてあげますね。
Get in the fucking glider. Flying a homemade glider is far beyond the scope of club activities. If she wants a hobby, she should find something else. Maybe she entered a robotics club. Didn't like that Misagi's became close to Mochizuki Amane. Misagi is a problem student and she notoriously does strange things. It's probably because of her frail body that makes her miss classes often. She can't get along with others and is alone most of the time. I was trying to watch over her whenever I could, but then Mochizuki appeared. Mochizuki Amane. She was a student you'd expect to go to a school like ours. She doesn't need to take classes. No, you could even say it's a waste of time to her. She studied by herself just fine. I thought she only needed a certificate. However, she turned down an offer to transfer to a college and stayed at our school. She was a nuisance, because she could make things that Misagi came up with a reality. Up until now, those were just pranks, but they went as far as fixing a glider and flying by themselves. Then there was that accident.
そのせいで、Misagiは。
Every time I think about it, I regret not stopping her. Those guys are trying to fly again. They seriously want to reach that cloud.
今度こそは。
After an early dinner, we gathered in the dining hall. We were going over the flight plan. Since Senpai's predictions were right, the Morning Glory will appear in a few days. We'll have to reach an altitude of 2 kilometers early in the morning and different conditions than normal. Moreover, we'll have limited time to do that. We made a flight plan taking into account such unfavorable conditions, but...
結構シビアだよね。でも、他に方法がないんじゃしょうがないわ。
Yeah, it'll be hard to find a thermal that could take us that high. So we decided to use a mountain wave. Mountain wave is a strong air current that is formed when air flows over a mountain. The highest point of this wave can reach even a few times higher than the summit of the mountain. We will use the mountain wave that comes from Mount Tsukubai, a mountain behind the school. By the way, mountain waves aren't an everyday occurrence, but we anticipate that it will be present for sure when the Morning Glory appears. Honestly, God, it feels like, yes, he's gonna like move and destroy the glider, but that's just gonna make them repair the wings as quickly as possible and fly anyways, which their normal wings would have been perfectly able to take that trip and complete it fully without any kind of fucking issues, but the like hastily built wings that they had to fix real quick aren't up to snuff for this, and that's gonna cause an accident then. Yeah, by the way, mountain waves aren't an everyday occurrence, but we anticipated that it will be present for sure when a Morning Glory appears. That's because the Morning Glory that appears over Kazugawara is caused by the mountain wave coming from Mount Tsukubai to begin with. That's what Amane said.
山岳波に乗ることができれば、モーニンググローリーの高さまで登ることもたやすいだろう。問題は、どうやって山岳波に乗るかだ。そのローター風だっけ？ それに入るのが難しいのよね。
Between the mountain waves, our spinning air turbulence is called rotor winds. We fly into an ascending part of that kind of turbulence, we'll be able to catch the mountain wave. But since those are turbulent currents, it's going to be very
そ
hard.
こは、葵さんの腕にかけるしかないわね。
We've already practiced it in the simulator at the very least. Amane had reproduced the Mount Tsukubai mountain waves in the simulator. Of course, I don't think it's gonna be just like the simulator, but it's better than nothing.
本番はさ、あまねちゃんが後ろに乗ってね。え、何驚いた顔してんですか？そうよ、当然のことじゃない。いや、でも私は。まさか、ここまで来て怖いとか言わないですよね。
Senpai looked uncomfortable.
私たち、あまねちゃんに飛んでほしいの。
Aga nodded. Asa and Yoru also agreed. Senpai looked at me. I want to take you there.
でも、みんなだって飛んでみたいんじゃないのか？そりゃね。でも、みんな乗れるわけじゃないですし。私たちは、また次の機会でいいです。ね、ヨルちゃん。ええ。私たち、まだ若いですから。
Well, yeah, Amane is almost a decade older than Asa and Yoru.
みんな。
Still haven't gotten over it? She nodded without confidence.
飛び岡に言われたこと気にしてるの？
You want the same thing to happen again?
イスカは言ったんだ。そこへ行けば、素晴らしいものが見られるって。イスカはそれを私にも見せてくれると言っていたんだ。見に行けばいいじゃない。きっと超感動するわよ。うんうん。あの写真の光景を生でパノラマで見られるんですから。
That one said that, Amane smiled, but she seemed somewhat lonely. No, worried. You're thinking about it too hard, Senpai. Take it easy.
そうかな。
Yeah, become an idiot. Only a silly person would do something like this. Everybody laughed at my words. Making a glider and aiming to fly above the clouds was a silly thing to do. But it was fun because it was silly. Living extremely seriously would be boring.
そうか。バカか。そうだった。私はバカなんだった。
Then Senpai joined the laughter. A strong wind blew and the dining hall windows clattered.
風が出てきたわね。
I got turned on to TV. It was time for the weather report.
やばいよ！今夜から明日未明にかけて雨が降るって！
On the TV, they showed the clouds coming from the west.
嘘！昼間あんなに晴れてたのに。
Moreover, it's gonna rain hard. Should we put the glider inside?
そうだね。
We decided to quickly head back to the runway. The wind was blowing. The sheets in front of me was fluttering. Under that sheet was the glider, and I had an iron stake in my hand. It's probably used for partitioning the land. Found it over there just now. It's heavy and its tip is sharp. One solid hit from this and any kind of FRP would crack. And several hits would probably smash it. I took off the sheet. The wings came into view. Gleaming white surface was shining in the moonlight. They somehow completed them. Must be Himegi's work. They are only a few students who have sufficient skills.
この翼さえ掘ってしまえば
I raised the iron stake.
あいつらにはまだこんな翼は必要ないんだ。巣立つには早いんだ。
My muttering sounded almost like someone else's voice to me, as if it was heard by my other self. Is this the right thing to do? Those students really worked really hard to make these wings, you know.
そんなこと見ればわかる。
Are you sure breaking these is your duty?
今はまだ必要ないんだ。こんな翼は。
As I answered my own question, my hands that were holding the stake started shaking. Put it down and thought about it
こ
again.
れを壊してもまたすぐ直してしまうだろう。
And then they will certainly try to fly again. So it's useless. Breaking these beautiful wings would be pointless. At that moment I realized something. There's one more way to prevent them from flying. I could use other means to make them unable to use the runway. Whoosh. Grass was wafting in the blowing wind.
あれさえなければ あいつらは、もう飛べない。
This time I can stop them. Get away from the winch, old man!
葵くん。心配そうな顔をして。
No, it's just... I was thinking that Tobioka might try to break the glider after all. Earlier I quickly dismissed that possibility, but now that I think about it, he tried to get the garage demolished in the past.
何よ、急に怖いこと言わないでよ。ねえ、アゲハ、どう？グライダー無事？
Quickly asked Age who was ahead
だ
of
っ
us.
て。あ、シートが剥がれてる。嘘、機体は大丈夫なの？
I pushed Kotori's wheelchair and rushed towards the
待
glider.
って待って、見てみる。朝ちゃん、夜ちゃん、手伝って。
Part of the sheet that had been taken away and the wings were uncovered. Age asked Nino to check the airframe looking for any abnormalities.
どこも問題ないみたい。風で飛ばされたんでしょうか。しっかり結んでおいたはずなのに。
明日、もう一度確認しよう。
はい、先輩。ねえ、朝、あんた目良かったわよね。ええ、いいですよ。数少ない自慢です。あそこ、ウィンチのところ、誰かいない？どれどれ？あ、いますね、誰か。あんちゃんかな？こんな時間に？
Asa walked closer and strained her eyes.
何してるんだろう。ウィンチのカバーを外そうとしてるみたい。
I'll go check it out. I ran to the winch. When I got closer, I also saw that person. It's not Anchan, but it's a man. I could tell from the physique. That man was holding something like a long rod. I kicked at the ground and burst into a sprint. I dashed towards the man at top speed. What are you doing? When I called out to him, he jumped from surprise, but he didn't drop the rod from his hand. He opened the cover of the winch and was aiming at its inside. Stop! I leapt onto his arms as he was about to strike the winch. We fell to the ground and tangled with each other. I immediately got up and pressed him for answers. What are you doing? You are...
何どうしたの、葵？
Age and the others caught up to me. I took the rod, a heavy iron stake, and threw it away. Then I looked down at the man.
何があったんですか？大丈夫なの？葵くん。あの人、飛岡先生。
Everyone was looking at the man, Tobioka, in surprise.
なんで飛岡先生がここにいんの？さっき、何しようとしてたの？
Age asked as she looked at the opened cover of the winch. Tobioka was kneeling on the ground and looking down. His eyes darting around and his lips were... His eyes were darting around and his lips were trembling. He looked quite shaken up, maybe because his hair and clothes were messy. What were you trying to do here, Tobioka? Tobioka didn't answer. He didn't even look up.
この鉄の棒で、何しようとしてたのかしら？
Yoda picked up the iron stake that I threw away. Everyone was startled when they saw it. With its sharp tip, it could be a dangerous weapon.
ウィンチを壊そうとした。
Why would you do that?
お前たちを飛べなくするためだ。
I didn't sense any hostility in Tobioka's voice. He was still shaking, as if even he couldn't believe what he was going to do.
そんな、ひどい。
Couldn't believe it. Well, that idea did cross our minds. But to think you would actually do this. Do you even know what you were doing?
仕方なかったんだ。そうでもしないと。
まさか、グライダーのシートが剥がされてたのも。グライダーも壊そうとしたんですか？
それは。
あんたね、先生だかなんだか知らないけど、やっていいことと悪いことがあるでしょ？生徒が自分の思い通りにならないからって、こんなひどいことするなんて。
Kotori's voice trembled with anger, sadness, and frustration. Ryoka looked up at Kotori, almost as if he was begging for forgiveness. His hands and knees were shaking and he couldn't stand up.
違うんだ。俺は。
やっと追いついたぞ。一体どうしたんだ？
As Amane finally got here, Tobioka glared at her.
お前だ。 お前が悪いんだ。お前が顧問なんて引き受けるから、留年してまで学校に残ったりするから、潔の思いつきを形にしてしまうから。
Ryoko was muttering complaints.
何よそれ、あまねちゃんが悪いって言うの？人のせいにしないでよ。小鳥、落ち着いて。一体どういうことなんですか、飛岡先生。
Aga asked him calmly.
望月さえいなければ潔は無事卒業できたかもしれない。あんな事故も起こらなかったんだ。
Amane was baffled by Tobioka's words.
だからなんであまねちゃんのせいになるのよ。
Tobioka shut his mouth and looked down. His expression showed signs of deep regret.
俺は1年の頃から潔の担任をしていた。あの子は危うい生徒だった。生まれつき体が弱く、学校は休みがち。そのせいか、人と違う奇抜なことをしたがる傾向があった。しかし、それも全部ただの思いつき。大した問題にもならなかった。ところが、望月と出会って、あいつはそれを実行できるようになってしまった。グライダーを作って空を飛ぼうなんて。俺には望月が、潔のそういう部分を助長しているように見えたんだ。
Senpai was looking at Tobioka, still with a baffled expression. Seems she didn't understand what he was talking about.
そもそも俺は、望月が嫌いだった。天才だかなんだか知らないが、それで周りのペースを乱す。足並みを揃えることができない。ロボット部の時がそうだった。全国大会で準優勝まで行っておきながら、あっさりとやめ、希望を抱いていた他の部員たちは、置き去りだ。
Tobioka clenched his fist in frustration.
私は
Senpai tried to say something, but it seems she couldn't come up with the right words and shut her mouth again. Aga started talking instead.
そんなのおかしいです。
お
だって先輩のおかげで全国行けて希望を持てて、それで置き去り？翌年も先輩の力で連れて行ってもらいたかったんですか？
それは
違うでしょ？自分たちの力で目指すんじゃないんですか？私ロボット部にいた頃イライラしてました。やれることもっとあるのにやろうとしない部員たちに人数ばっか多くて、毎年初戦敗退するのが当たり前みたいな顔して、私がスワリング部を選んだのは誰一人誰かに連れてってもらおうなんて思ってないからです。ここにいるみんなは自分と仲間たちの力を合わせてあの雲の向こうまで行きたいってそう思ってるんです。
Everybody nodded. We all have our strengths and weaknesses, but that's why helping each other is so important.
私、自分たちが作った翼が空を飛んだ時、感動しました。夜ちゃんと違って、いつもドジでダメダメな私だけど、だから嬉しかった。みんなで力を合わせてなんてバカバカしいって思ってたこともあったけど、意外と悪くなかったわ。グライダーが飛んだからって大会で一等賞取れるわけじゃないけど、だからこそ得られるものがあったと思う。
Asa and Yuro nodded at one another. They both felt the same way.
去年ロボット部で補欠だったアゲハたちが大会に出場した時、途中で負けちゃって、次こそはって言ってまた頑張ってた。
The members who were in the substitute team came back then. And the substitute team back then went to this year's competition as the main team and made it to the district semifinals. They were frustrated when they lost because they were serious about it. Because they were trying to win the competition with their own strength without relying on anyone else. I know full well that this frustration makes people stronger.
そんな理由であまねちゃんを悪く言うなんて間違ってると思う。
Tobioka couldn't say anything to that.
それは
Did you come to dislike Amane just because of that?
違う。 それに私も、最初は、美咲と望月が親しくなったことを、喜んでいたんだ。そのおかげで、美咲が退学せずに済んだのだからな。
退学？どういうこと？
美咲は欠席が多いせいか、周囲に馴染めず、孤立していた。ある時、ひどい熱で1週間学校を休んだことがあった。出席日数も危うくなり、本人も学校へ行く気力を失いかけていた。何度か相談を受け、親御さんとも話をし、退学する方向へ話が進みかけていた頃だった。
We all looked at Amane.
知らなかった。イスカが退学しかかっていたなんて。イスカは私に体が弱いことを隠そうとしていたから。
友人ができたおかげで、美咲は学校へ戻ってこられた。気力が回復したからだろう。体調もいいようだった。私は担任として、遠くからその様子を見守っていた。
Amane and Isuka met around the same time. Right around the time that they became third years. And they gradually got close.
それの、一体何が不満なのよ。
美咲は出会ってしまったんだ。グライダーに興味を持つのはいい。美咲が興味を持っても不思議じゃない。けれど、実際に飛ぼうなどとする子じゃなかった。望月さえいなければ、何か起こってからでは遅いと、私は反対した。だが、他の先生方は、望月に甘かった。お前の言うこと、やりたいこと、大抵が許された。
Isuka glared at Amane as he said that. But it's absurd to blame Amane for that. The responsibility lies with the teachers who favored her. They are all adults. Amane was still a child back then, shouldn't be held responsible for their actions.
それで済んでいればな。だが、そうはならなかった。美咲たちが4年生の夏休み。あの事故が起こった。美咲は焦っているようだった。望月が大学編入を拒んだせいで、ソアリング部への風当たりが強くなっていたからだ。それで早く成果を出そうとしていたんだろう。不完全なまま、テストフライトを行って。
Amane's expression stiffened when he approached the truth about the accident. What happened?
フライトそのものは問題なかったそうだ。ただ、着陸の際に操縦を誤り、主翼を地面にこすって、そのまま地面に叩きつけられた。
Okay, so hold up. It wasn't even a fucking problem with the glider, but a fucking human error? Bitch, if that's the reason, then fucking riding a bike could have ended with an accident. I will beat you! Swing at the ground. Could easily imagine what kind of accident that could cause.
それで、イスカは
病院へ運ばれたが、命に別状はなかった。ただ、複数の骨折とショックによる発熱とで、数日入院しなければならなかった。
そうだったんですか。
Simpa whispered absent-mindedly after she heard things she didn't know about the accident. Her voice showed signs of shock from learning about the serious injury, as well as relief that she had made it mixed in. Why were you keeping quiet about that accident up until now?
美咲のご両親からの強い要望だ。
Her parents? What does he mean?
美咲の父親は慶風学園の理事であり、いわゆる地元の名士だ。幸い、事故は夏休みの人の少ない時期に起きた。要望というのは建前で、要するにもみ消すように指示されたんだ。
どうしてそんなこと、意味わかんない。
After that, he's got dropped out of school, right? What was that? Was it because of the injuries?
怪我も原因の一つではあるが、 もともと潔の家は厳しくてな。娘を自由に遊ばせておくのは良くないと考えたようだ。
So yeah, even if they're like currently trying to redeem it, it like feels like all the fucking outside factors were at fault, but he decides to blame Amane.
親子関係もうまくいっていなかったようだし、あの子の意思に関係なく退学させられた。
And then they kept her whereabouts a secret. Hanchan and Amane tried to find her, but to no avail. The owner of Flying Fish Manor was apparently silenced as well. It's a famous person and a member of the school board. Her father could do that.
だから、あまねちゃんに何も言わずに去っていってしまったのね。でもそれじゃ、あまねちゃんのせいじゃないじゃない。なのにあなたは逆恨みして、あまねちゃんやソアリング部に嫌がらせしてたわけ？
That was absurd! Kotri condemned Tobioka. The rest of us probably felt the same way. And she said that Tobioka was still kneeling on the ground, started shaking.
それもある。だが、
He couldn't continue. His words were swallowed by sobbing. Tears streamed down from his eyes.
すまん！望月！
Tobioka suddenly bowed down to Amane.
何ですか、飛岡先生。
私は、お前に黙っていたことがある。
黙っていたこと？
Tobioka was bowing so deeply that his forehead was almost touching the ground.
預かったんだ。手紙を。潔が退院し、退学する際に、手紙を預かっていたんだ。お前に。渡してほしいって。
Amane was dumbfounded. She never expected to hear something like that.
今まで渡せずにいた。すまん。
Tobioka barely managed to squeeze those words out of his throat, then broke down crying. It was raining that day.
いいっすか？
I walked towards the dimly lit garage and called out, but there was no reply. The noise of the rain hitting the roof dulled my
いないの
thoughts.
か。
When I returned here, all that was waiting for me was the empty garage and a completely fine glider. The broken glider. Yes, I know it's supposed to be broken, but it looks like the same as what it does when it's completely fucking fine.
主翼が折れてる。それにボディも。
Based on the condition of the glider, I could easily imagine that something had happened.
いいっすか？いいっすか？
Called out to my best friend's name, but there was no response. Just what had happened? Is he all right? All kinds of thoughts spun around in my head. I searched the desk for any notes she could have left behind, but I didn't find anything. Instead,
写真がなくなってる。
the photo of that cloud was missing from the picture frame. The broken glider and a broken ladder and an empty picture frame. Those were the only traces left behind. At the time, I didn't give them much thought yet. It's because there was something else I was really worried about.
いいっすか？
I rushed out of the garage to look for Isuka. An unpleasant rain was falling outside. It seemed to be following me around. Never thought that I wouldn't be able to see Isuka again. When I realized that, my world lost its color once again. Just as the forecast predicted, it rained the next day. The persistent, gloomy rain.
あまねちゃん、どう？
It's no good. She shut herself in a room and won't come out. Senpai stayed shut in her room and didn't even reply when we called out to her. She didn't touch the food we left in front of her door either.
ショックなことが書いてあったのね、きっと。
This morning, Tobioka visited Flying Fish Manor despite the rain. He came to deliver Senpai a letter.
これがその手紙だ。
これがイスカの。
Amane took the envelope with the letter from Tobioka.
何が書いてあるかは知らない。
The seal hadn't been
ど
broken.
うしてすぐに渡してくれなかったんでしょうか。
ミサギのご両親からお前とミサギを二度と会わせないよう言われていたからだ。私もそうするべきだと。これをお前に渡すことでお前にもミサギにも良い影響があるとは思えなか
Well,
った。
time to spread word of what happened all around town, ruin the Misagi family name, and make them give up her location. Alternatively, visit them with the spike that he was going to use to destroy the winch. I'm sure that is a very persuasive tool. After all, people get a lot more open to discussion once you smash their kneecaps. Anyways. Especially with like a sharp spike like that, you don't just smash through the kneecaps, you immediately fucking tear apart the bones as well. Just push him apart. Just fucking that gotta hurt. That got a lot of persuasiveness behind it.
そうですか。
すぐに忘れるだろうと思っていたんだ。若い連中の気持ちは移ろいやすい。すぐにまた新しいことを始めて、新しい友人とも出会って、ミサギもお前も、それが一番いいと思っていたんだ。
Duba dropped the umbrella from his weak grasp at the entrance of the dorm. He exposed himself to the persistent rain. Sensei, please come in. I was watching from a little distance, invited him in, but Tobioka didn't move, as if he hadn't heard me at all. The rain continued soaking Tobioka's clothes.
それなのに、お前はやめなかった。あの薄暗いガレージにこもり続け、グライダーを作り続けた。
There was a hint of blame in Tobioka's voice. The glance seemed to be directed at Amane, but...
留年までして、お前は
felt that those words were directed at
だん
himself.
だんと重荷になっていった。その手紙を預かり、渡さなかったことが。だから、私はお前たちを憎むことで。
Tobioka might have been crying. It's just that I couldn't see any tears because of the rain.
すまなかった。
Soaking wet, Tobioka apologized. The sight of a remorseful and crying teacher bowing his head to a student was really awkward, but he looked somewhat relieved, as if a weight that he had been carrying for several years had finally been lifted from his shoulders. As soon as Tobioka left, Amane opened Isuka's letter. With trembling hands, it was a final message from a friend she thought hadn't left behind anything for her. Kotri and I were watching her closely. Amane's eyes opened wide in shock as she felt the contents of the letter. In the next instant, the light in her eyes vanished. The youthful sparkle that her eyes were always filled with was suddenly gone.
どうしたの？あまねちゃん。
Without answering, she started walking unsteadily. She climbed up the stairs. Senpai? Then she shut herself up in her room. Aga came in the middle of the rain and all of the Soaring Club members gathered together.
そうなんだ。
Told Agayasu and Yoru that Tobioka came this morning and gave Senpai the letter.
手紙にはなんて書いてあったんですか？
Oh no, Tobioka said he hadn't read it either.
じゃあ、今部屋に閉じこもってるあの人しか知らないわけか。あまねちゃん、すごいショック受けてたみたいだった。
I recalled Amane's face when she was reading the letter. That moment when the sparkle in her eyes vanished, as if her power was cut.
手紙にはさ、イスカさんがどうしていなくなったのかが書かれてたんだよね。
Probably.
だったら、あまねさんを気遣うことが書かれてるんじゃないんでしょうか。
Everyone fell silent. thought it was just like Asa said, or rather wanted to be like that. From what I could tell from Senpai's reaction, it didn't seem like it.
一体何が書いてあったんだろう。
Kotori was so worried about Senpai, she looked like she was about to cry, and Nagia patted her head.
今は先輩が出てきてくれるのを待つしかないね。どのみちこの天気じゃ飛べないし。今日は夕方頃まで雨だって言ってましたね。
Kotori.
今日はお休みにしましょう。雨が止んで、あまねちゃんが復活したら、テストを再開するからね。
Nobody objected to the club president's plan. After the group dismissed, Kotori and I started preparing to make dinner. Still pretty early time-wise, but we didn't know what else to do, so we got started. Fortunately, tonight we were having stew. The earlier we make it, the better it will taste.
はい、ハト。おやつよ。わわ。
Kotori fed some vegetable scraps to Hat. As she watched him devour it, she muttered.
イスカはさ、どうしてハトをここに置いてったんだろう。
Who knows? Parents apparently are very strict, so maybe they wouldn't let her keep him.
うん。
As she looked at the duck wearing a hat, Kotori got lost in thought. I looked out the window while I was stirring the stew. A gloomy rain. It started raining before dawn and it's still coming down even now. They said it's supposed to stop in the evening, but...
ねえ、イスカはどうして日誌を置いてったのかな。モーニンググローリーの写真も日誌に挟んであった。
Didn't you just forget about it? It was placed intentionally, I feel. She hid it in a secret place and then left Flying Fish Manor.
違うと思う。だって他には何も残ってなかったんですもの。一番大事なもの忘れていくとは思えないわ。
Might be true. Then why did you leave without it?
知ってる？うちの寮ってパイ投げ禁止ってルールがあるの。
Yeah, I know. When I became the dorm mother, they gave me a list of things to watch out for. That was explicitly written
あれっ
there.
てイスカがパイ投げしたからなのよ。他にもこないだタイムカプセル出てきたよね。
Yeah. Kotori went deep into thought again.
探せばもっとあるんじゃないかしら。イスカの痕跡。
Maybe so. Kotori started looking around. I guess she wants to look for some of those traces. Leave her for now and get to work.
はーい。
Kotori, unsatisfied, went back to cutting vegetables. The sounds of its boiling stew, vegetables being chopped, and the wind and rain outside echoed around the room. Started worrying about the glider. It's been left on a runway since yesterday. After that thing with Tobioka, we didn't take it apart in the end. Carefully covered it with a sheet, but still, it hasn't been blown away. Actually wanted to bring it into the garage today, but Anshan had been around since this morning. We didn't have any way to transport it by ourselves in the middle of the rain, so we couldn't help but leave it there. Oh, rain shouldn't do anything. Guess I'll go take a look later. Once dinner is ready. After we finished dinner preparations and I walked out of the dining hall, I caught a glimpse of someone leaving through the entrance. Was that Kanako? I thought that and went to check on Amane. Kanako came down the stairs from the second floor. Huh? Kanako? But who was?
ねえ、葵くん。ちょっといいかな。
What is it?
さっき望月先輩の部屋の前でこんなの拾ったんだけど。
Kanako pulled out a scrap of paper. It was a folded up sheet of loose leaf paper. Took it and opened.
望月先輩が部屋から出てくる音がしたのね。だから様子を見に行ったんだけど。
It was Isuka's letter. As I scanned its contents, I understood everything. I knew by the light that it resembled a starry sky vanished from Amane's eyes in an instant.
どうしたの？二人とも。
Kotori brought a hat and left the dining hall. With trembling hands, he gave the letter to Kotori.
何これ？
Isuka's letter. Then, when Kotori saw my pale face, her expression stiffened. Then she quickly skimmed over the contents of the letter.
何よ、これ。
She was shocked. Amane went outside a minute ago. I'll go look for her.
私も。
You stay here and watch the phone. She might call. Also, tell Asa, Yoru, and Aya about this. Could you get them to help look as well?
わかった。
After I told Kotri what to do, I rushed outside.
あまね。僕はもう、ここにはいられそうもない。だから、本当のことを話すね。僕は、嘘つきだ。君のことを、今まで騙し続けてきた。約束したよね。あの雲の回廊へ、連れて行ってあげる。嬉しかった。君が信じてくれて。けど、あれは、嘘なんだ。僕は、本当は信じていなかった。モーニンググローリーが来るなんて。20年以上起こってなかった現象が、僕がいる今この時に起こってくれるなんて、そんな都合のいいことないって思ってた。あまねはよく言ってたよね。僕のことを天才だって。けど、違うよ。本物の天才は君だ、あまね。僕はちょっと人と違ったことをしているだけの、ただの普通の女の子。自意識過剰ってやつ。なのに、君にすごいって言ってもらえるのが嬉しくって、もっと言ってもらいたくって、それで、嘘をついたんだ。信じてもない夢を掲げて、君を騙した。でも、そのせいで君は、大学へ行かず、慶風学園に残ってしまった。僕の嘘は、君を、あのちっぽけなガレージにつなぎ止めてしまった。苦しいよ、あまね。君のそばにいたい。親友でいたい。そんな僕の身勝手さが、あまねの人生を狂わせてる。辛くて、苦しくて、少しでも何か形にしたくて、グライダーで飛ぼうとしたけど、ダメだった。僕の翼は偽物だから。飛べるはずなんてなかった。僕は、卑怯者の嘘つきだ。恥ずかしい。消えてしまいたい。僕の最後のお願いを聞いてくれるかい？僕のこと忘れてください。それで君は本来君のいるべき場所へ行ってください。ごめんね、あまね。
I'm sure there was some kind of reason, some unavoidable circumstance. I didn't think Isuka would run off somewhere without me, if that wasn't the case. But the heavy rain was hitting my body. This hopeless, stupid me. I was sure that a kind reality was out there somewhere, that everyone would reward me for all these lonely days I spent in that garage. I'd been kind of expecting that. I'm just a fool. The glider that we left on the runway covered by a sheet has been doused by the rain. Silhouette full of swept wings. Fragment of the dream that Isuka and I saw. I was the only one who felt that way. All strength left my body, and before I knew it, I'd fallen to my knees, splashed around the water in a puddle. Everyone was tied down. This wasn't a dream at all. It's a curse. In my powerless hands, I took the sheets off the glider. It appeared that below was a dull-colored wing reflecting the dull rain clouds. I took aim at those wings. Hello, Aga.
Aoi? そっちどう?
She wasn't at school.
となると
She didn't return home. She must have gone to that place.
だね。私も行ってみる。
Yeah, please. We split up and were running around in the rain looking for Amane. She was in the garage. She was in a hurry. Just imagine what state of mind Senpai could be in right now when it sent a sharp pain to my body. It led her undermined all of her premises. What Amane believed in. She held dear. Everything. I think that Isuka herself would deny their promise. After Isuka disappeared, that was the only thing Senpai relied on. That's how she made it this far. The one thing she believed in, no matter what was that she didn't want to part with Isuka. Last summer, when we flew to the Morning Glory and failed, she gave up on that dream once. However, when she was together with us, she felt like going for it again. Despite all of that, damn it, why? The letter that I thought would save Amane betrayed her and thrust her to the very bottom. I was running, didn't care about stepping in the puddle or getting drenched by the rain. If I knew the rain had stopped, I ran through the bushes, hurrying towards the runway. Amane! I shouted at the top of my lungs as I ran down the runway. Mud splashed up at my feet. I saw the white aircraft in the distance. The sheet that had covered the glider had been taken off. Amane! Senpai was right there. Looked like she was clinging to the wing that was resting on the ground. Senpai! When I called out to her, Senpai suddenly raised her hands into the air and then hit the wing with a stone that she was holding over and over again. Senpai, what are you doing? I grabbed her arm from behind and tried to pull her away from the glider. Come down, Senpai! I held her tight when she was struggling. Amane, please, come down! Senpai's arms hang down powerlessly. At the same time, the stone she was holding fell to the ground. I hugged her even more tightly and stroked her back to calm her down. Senpai? Naga came running towards us from the distance. Behind her were Asa and Yoru, and Kotri, and for some reason Anchan as well. Oops. Kotri said anxiously as she saw Senpai wrapped up in my arms. Agia saw the part of the main wing that Senpai had been hitting and rushed over to it. The stone left countless scratches there. Senpai did it. Let go of Senpai. She was unsteady, but somehow managed to stand on her own. Read Isuka's letter. What should I say? That's not true! Senpai weakly shook her head. I'm gonna try to pick up the stone again. Please stop, Senpai! I grabbed her arm and stopped. It's not a lie. No matter what Isuka thinks, for us it's a real dream. Everyone looked at Amane and nodded. Their feelings are sincere. But Senpai's eyes were blank. The words didn't reach her closed-off heart. The emotional trauma that she received was much, much deeper. No. Senpai grabbed my arm and looked at me as if she was pleading with me. Otherwise, I won't be able to get back to normal. I could sense the desperate appeal inside her blank eyes. I was about to be crushed by extraordinary grief. What should I do? Is holding her the only thing I can do? Is that all lovers are good for in the end?
No, Amane. ちょっといいか?
Hanchan, who had been watching us silently, spoke up. Senpai stopped trying to shake off my hand and turned her gaze towards Hanchan.
実は、今日はお前に用事があって会いに来たんだ。
Hanchan nodded.
こないだ、朝ちゃんと夜ちゃんが教えてくれたよな。イスカがどこかの療養所にいるって。行ってきたんだ。その療養所へ。
は？While everyone was surprised, Kotri nodded slightly.
五十嵐さんはそのことを教えに、 飛び要素に来てくれたの。
And you heard about Isuka's letter and brought Kotri here.
潔家は地元の名士だろ。だから、療養施設も近くにあるんじゃないかって考えたんだ。それで、それらしい場所をしらみつぶしに当たってみた。
You found it? Anchan's expression neither confirmed nor denied my question.
イスカがいたのは、療養施設って言っても、表向きは潔家の別荘だった。
イスカは。
Anchan shook his head. No way. Is she already dead? I wasn't the only one who had such a bad feeling. Everyone else looked uneasy, but Anchan had a gentle smile on his lips.
元気になって、出て行った後だった。
じゃあ、今どこにいるかは。
これから探そうと思ってるところだ。その前に、あまねに報告しときたくてな。イスカはちゃんと無事だったって。
ありがとう、達也。でももう。
手紙。悪いが、俺も読ませてもらった。ショックだったお前の気持ち、よくわかるつもりだが、俺はなんとなく気づいてたよ。あいつが無理してるの。知ってるだろ？俺があいつのこと好きだったの。
Amane weakly shook her head.
初めて知った。
そうか。
イスカは元気になったのか。
Seppa had a relieved but somehow lonely expression.
退学した後、イスカの体調は悪化し、長期療養を余儀なくされたらしい。親ともうまくいってなかったようで、体調不良を理由に別荘に押し込められて、ほとんど軟禁状態だったようだ。
軟禁
Misagi family is quite prominent around here. Tabioka mentioned they were worried about their reputation, so the house arrest might be related to
イスカ
that.
がそこを出て行ったのは、今から半年ほど前。そのきっかけになったのが、これだそうだ。
As he said that, Anchan took out a picture from his breast pocket. This is a picture containing familiar-looking clouds. The photo was showing a passage of clouds from below. That's right, those were the clouds we flew to 1 year ago. Senpai noticed something among those clouds. I also found it a moment later. Beneath the glittering orange clouds was a small bird-like shadow. It's our glider!
潔家の別荘は湖のそばにあった。ここからだとちょうど反対側で、だいぶ遠いがな。去年の夏、不思議な雲を見たイスカは、お手伝いの人と湖まで行き、そしてそこで、雲の回廊を目指すグライダーを見つけたそうだ。
Amane was gazing at the scene in the picture. The rest of us also stared at that familiar scene. The sky we flew through 1 year ago.
見てたんだ。イスカも。私たちが見てたように。
You said this picture gave her motivation.
そこの管理人の人が言うには、それまでイスカは何もかも諦めてたらしい。まるで世捨て人みたいにな。けどその光景を、お前たちがあの雲を目指して飛ぶ姿を見て、変わったって言ってた。療養に専念し、体力をつけ、そして両親を説得し、ようやくそこを出られたのが半年前というわけだ。
不思議な偶然があるものね。本当に偶然かしら。姉さんも、同じようにあの雲と出会い、そしてグライダーを見つけた。それは、いつも空に焦がれて、空を見上げていたからよ。私は違った。姉さんがいなければ、きっとここにはいなかった人間。イスカさんは、多分、姉さんと同じ。いつも、空を見上げてた。
Yoru nodded
偶
quietly.
然かもしれないけれど、その偶然と出会えたのは、それを求めていたからなのね。
This miraculous coincidence occurred because she single-mindedly pressed on and aimed for the clouds. Would you call that a
あ
coincidence?
りがとう、達也。少しだけ救われたよ。
あまね。
みんなもありがとう。翼を傷つけて、ごめん。
Senpai laughed
イス
sadly.
カが無事でよかった。また歩き出してくれて、本当によかった。これで私も、忘れられる。忘れるって何を？イスカのこと？あ、それと、グライダーのことも、
Senpai said apologetically.
そんな。
Senpai, why? When you flew that day, it wasn't for nothing.
イスカの望みは、私の中から消えること。それに、私はやっぱり、みんなと同じ夢は見られそうにない。あまね先輩。私は、イスカがどこを目指しているのか、どうしてそこへ行きたいのか知りたかった。この世界が、彼女にはどんな風に見えているのか。でも、嘘だった。そのことに変わりはないだろう。だからもう、飛ぶ理由がない。
Senpai. Might be just like Senpai said. Morning Glory wasn't something she was aiming for herself. It was just a promise for Isuka. Senpai wanted to know so much more about her. That's why she aimed for it. But the letter destroyed that whole premise. Amane lost her reason to go for it. I recalled the words she said to us when we asked her to become our advisor. Right now, I don't have the same dream as you guys. We thought Senpai wanted to fly, but it was our wish, not hers.
本当にそうなのかな。
Kotori muttered.
本当にそれが、イスカの望みなのかな。どういうことだい？だってあの手紙にはそう書いてあったじゃないか。
I didn't feel like she made up what she wrote there because she was worried about Amane. Isuka was certainly well aware how much that letter would hurt Senpai. But she had to have written it. I guess she must have felt really guilty about lying to her.
それだけじゃない。イスカは、私たちの始まりになったモーニンググローリーの写真をガレージから持ち去った。壊れたグライダーと空っぽの写真立ては、私に夢を捨てろっていうメッセージだったんだ。
If she wanted Senpai to cling to the dream, I guess she would have left the picture there. But Kotori said,
それが、イスカの本心だったって、私、思えないの。
Everyone looked at Kotori. I didn't know what she was trying to say, but I wanted her to say some words that would make us believe that what we've been holding dear wasn't a mistake.
私ね、イスカの気持ちが少しわかるの。イスカって体が弱かったのよね。自分がいつ死ぬかもしれないって思ってて、学校もよく休んでたんでしょ？だから、いつか自分はここからいなくなるかもしれない。
ああ、そうだ。
私も似たようなものだったから。
Kotori squeezed the hem of her skirt tightly as she tried to put up with the embarrassment. The gesture told everyone that she was going to speak frankly about her difficult past.
私、こんなだから、学校に馴染めなくて、友達もできなくて、それで、よく休んでて、どんどん孤立していって、毎日毎日全然楽しくなくて、生きてるのも嫌になるくらい辛くって、一度、本当に学校を辞めようとした。葵くんやアゲハや、あまねちゃんたちと出会ってなかったら、きっとそうなってた。似てるから、わかるの。イスカの気持ち。
While Kotori was telling her touching story, Agea moved closer and put a hand on her shoulder. As that encouraged her, Kotori resumed talking.
イスカは、何かを残したかったと思うの。この場所を去る前に、何か自分がここにいたって証を。だって、たくさん残ってるじゃない。イスカがいた痕跡が。
The strange rule of Flying Fish Manor, the duck-named hat, the time capsule, the flight log that was in Kotori's room and the glider. If we looked in other places, we probably would have found more.
私、ずっとイスカが変な子だから、いっぱい残ってるんだと思ってた。けど、違うかもしれないって思うようになった。私の部屋にあったあのノート。イスカのフライトログ。あれは、忘れていったんじゃない。誰かに読んでほしくて、そこにしまってあったの。イスカはきっと、知っててほしかったんだと思う。ミサギイスカって女の子が、そこに生きてたんだってことを、空を見上げて、あの綺麗な雲を目指してたんだってことを、だから、あの写真も一緒に挟んでおかなきゃいけなかった。自分たちが目指した場所を、見てもらうために。
Without that picture, it would have just been a diary that some strange girl had forgotten. That photo, the magnificent and beautiful scene that could captivate one's heart at first glance, breathed life into the diary. There's no mistake that it was a necessary detail to Asuka. And without that, Kotri wouldn't have aimed for the sky. She was just like Isuka, who found that picture in a flight log of a former soaring club in the garage, which made her aim for the sky herself.
そう確信したのは、ついさっきよ。五十嵐さんが持ってきてくれた写真、イスカは療養所に残していったんでしょ？
ああ。空っぽの部屋の壁を埋め尽くすように、たくさんの雲の写真が貼ってあった。まるで、そこを訪れた人に、自分が得た感動を伝えようとするみたいに。
イスカは、寂しかったんだと思う。親友と別れを告げ、誰からも忘れられてしまうのが、せめて、誰でもいいから知ってて欲しかった。だから、トビウオソウの部屋にノートを残したの。あそこなら、次に入ってくるのは同年代の女の子だもの。でも、自分からはそうして欲しいって、言えない子だったのよ。私も似たところあるから、わかるの。
Kotri sat shyly and squeezed the hand Agia put on her shoulder. But now it was different, like she was confirming that there are friends who would say the same thing.
でも、本当に覚えてて欲しかったのは、顔も知らない誰かじゃない。イスカが残りたかったのは、やっぱり、アマネちゃんの中なのよ。いつか自分が死んで、いなくなっても、アマネちゃんが覚えててくれればいい。たとえ信じていなくても、アマネちゃんに、モーニンググローリーを見せたかった気持ちは、嘘じゃないはずよ。あの綺麗な雲を一緒に眺めて、同じ感動を共有したかった。だってそれは、きっと、一生忘れられない記憶になる。
For I noticed tears welled up in Kotri's eyes, as if Isuka's feelings had been transferred to her.
私がもし、明日学校を去らなければならないとしたら、そうしたい。ここにいるみんなの心に、一番キラキラしてた頃の私が、残っててほしいって思うもん。小鳥先輩。一年前の私は、そう思える相手さえいなかった。けど、葵くんやアゲハや、アマネちゃんと出会って、グライダーと出会って、それから、朝や夜や、五十嵐さんや、トビウオソウのみんなや、生徒会長や、アゲハの妹ちゃんや、たくさんの人と出会って、今、最高に幸せよ。イスカも、きっとそうだったと思う。約束が嘘でも、アマネちゃんや五十嵐さんと飛びたかった気持ちは、嘘じゃないはずなの。
As Kotri looked at her with teary eyes, Amane stood stock still with an astonished expression. Senpai, what do you think? Do you still think the time you spent with Isuka was a lie? Senpai shook her head silently.
でも、私は。
She hung her head and bit her lip. Her expression showed that she didn't know what to do. She was trembling, as if she was frightened. She wanted to start walking, but was afraid to step forward. That's how she looked. Isuka's not a liar. Amane raised her head and looked at me. But you're the one who can prove... But you're the only one who can prove that, Senpai.
私が、証明する。
I nodded, and I moved next to the glider. You designed those wings for Isuka to go towards those clouds together.
でもそれは。
You should fly, Senpai, with this glider. And you should cross over the passenger clouds.
そっか。先輩が約束を果たせば、嘘は嘘じゃなくなるんだ。
I mean, it's already not really a lie anymore since she did actually want to do it near the end. It's basically like a lie made true. Like, for example, if it was like, hey, this I broke my fucking chocolate Santa. Well, it's just off here, but it's not broken. Well, I can fucking swing my thing here, and suddenly it's true. It is a lie which has been basically rectified or realized after it came out as a lie. It is a delayed truth. That's like a fucking phrase you'd use, like a delayed truth. Like, fucking, you gotta, as a kid, you get a call from your parents, like, hey, did you have to, like we're still outside, did you clean up your room already? You just look around your room, it's just still fucking dirty as shit. You just go like, yeah, we did, bye! So you fucking hang up and start cleaning up. It's a delayed truth. Let's fly, senpai. Proof that Isuka wasn't a liar. We'll take you to the place that you were promised.
いい考えね。お手伝いします。
That is itchy, help me.
みんな。
Amane looked at everyone in a daze, then she nodded timidly.
連れて行ってくれ。私を。
At that moment, an orange ray of light pierced through the clouds of the west. Symbolism. Just as the weather report said, the rain stopped by evening and the clouds were gradually clearing up. Then the setting sun started poking through the gaps in the clouds. Bathed in the light, the wet glider glistened red like it was on fire. As if it had come back to life. Kotori looked at the sky in the opposite direction and opened her eyes wide. Huh? Everyone looked at where Kotori was pointing. What was there was, I feel it should be. Again, it's just kind of hot pink over the eastern sky had a bluish purple hue.
綺麗な空。まるで朝焼けみたいです。ねえ、葵、あれって。
Yeah. We gazed at the scene in blank amazement. It was the sight we had been waiting to see for a year. The sky we had yearned and prayed for. But to come with this great timing. I looked at Senpai, who was standing next to me. She was staring at that sunset sky as if she was seeing something unbelievable.
去年の夏もここで見た。
There's no mistaking it.
お、どうしたんですか皆さん。もしかしてあれが前に言ってた。
Yeah, it's a sign. It was a miraculous coincidence. However, for all of us who had been anxiously looking up the sky every day, it was bound to happen. It's coming tomorrow morning. The morning glory. Isuka's and Amane's promised day. Except the little links to fly in the sky highly.
Okari! あんた、よく食べるわね。腹が減っては戦はできぬよ。それに、言いたいことみんな言ったら、お腹空いちゃって。
You should hurry up and eat too, Ageha. I'll take a bath in turns.
はーい。ドキドキするね、ユロちゃん。そうね。まさか本当に来るなんてね。イスカさんじゃないけど、正直あまり期待してなかったわ、私。きっと先輩たちが頑張ってたからだよ。そのご褒美なんじゃないかな。非科学的を通り越して、メルヘンね。
After we had returned from the runway, we prepared dinner in a hurry. A sign had appeared. Morning glory was coming the next morning. To get ready for it, we decided to go to bed early and get up before dawn.
ごちそうさま。私もごちそうさま。小鳥、お風呂行こう。おー、お風呂。私たちも行きます。あまねちゃんも行こうよ。私は後にするよ。食べ終わるの待ってるわよ。いや、いいんだ。先に入っててくれ。でも、ほら行くよ、小鳥。
Agya forcibly pushed Kotori's wheelchair.
押さないで。二人きりにさせてあげましょう。あ、そっか。じゃあね、葵。
After winking at me, Agya let Kotori and the others out of the dining hall. After everyone left, it suddenly got quiet. Seppa was eating very daintily, as if she had forgotten her usual hearty way of eating. You don't like it?
そんなことないぞ。すごく美味しい。ただ、いろいろありすぎて、胸がいっぱいなんだ。
Seppa put down her chopsticks with a troubled expression. Seppa, your hand.
ああ、これか。大したことないよ。
There was a scratch on her palm. She probably got it when she was grasping that stone and hitting the
あ
wing.
の時は、ありがとう、葵くん。私を止めてくれて。おかげで取り返しのつかないことにならずに済んだ。
The ring that Amane had hit was fine. There were some scratches on the paint of the surface, but there weren't any cracks. As Agya said, if they broke merely from Amane's weak little hits, they wouldn't be suitable for flying to begin with. Gliders aside, FRP is also used to make the hulls of fishing boats and such. If it's made properly, it's not something that would break so easily. I sat next to Seppa and held her scratched up hand. So reckless. Hands are precious. We had plenty of things in future. She nodded and rested her head against my chest.
あの手紙が出てきたのが、今日でよかった。
Why's that?
もし、イスカがいなくなった時に読んでいたら、私は立ち直れなかっただろう。今だから、こうしていられる。葵くんや、みんながいてくれる、今だから。
Senpai. I held Senpai in my arms as gently as I could.
葵くん、バスタオルどこ？ねえ、葵くん、どうしたの、小鳥？あ、
Kotori and Agya, who peeked into the dining hall, froze in place.
これまた失礼しました。行くよ、小鳥。
They ran away all flustered.
抱き合ってたよ。すごいとこ見ちゃったね。やっぱお付き合いしてると、ああいうことするんだ。
Their excited voices resounded from the hall. They're definitely going to talk about it in the bath.
私は後から入ることにするよ。
That said, we were really holding each other. We really were holding each other. "4 a.m. Not quite. It is 4. Actually, it is a 44. Like after midnight. 0:44. It's gonna be 1 in the morning in 16 minutes. There we fucking go. It is 0:44:45 now, so it's not as funny because that's one. That's because together it would have been just 4:44 before, but now it's 4:45, which isn't as funny. Kinda feel like I have to end the part here, or the next one. It's gonna be kind of short. Because I don't want to be recording for too long, honestly. Fuck it. I'll save here. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and see you next time. Bye bye.